Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're on live at ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do, we got you covered. All 3 hours of the program get posted upon the conclusion of the show on iTunes. It also will be available on our website in the audio vault. You can watch us perform our duties on YouTube as always. Hello, YouTubers. Good to be with you. Good to be with you as well, Periscopers. Emailers, jcs@979espnradio.com. Go there, fire away. Always appreciate the input. Oftentimes turns into fodder for the program. Florida State baseball will give you updates here and there. I'm not going to be beholden to it every second of the day. I get caught up in that, and then the show suffers. But we will give you intermittent updates. It's update time for that ass. And that will be the sounder. That lets you know an update is coming. One of my favorites. So we'll do that. Knowles, obviously, a 6 seed in the ACC men's baseball tournament with Louisville being a 1. Georgia Tech a 2, NC State a 3, Miami a 4, Carolina a 5, and us a 6. And then the also-rans. But these days you really can't ignore the also-rans because we've lost to many of them. But our matchup for today is against Wake Forest. So, all right. Baby steps here, Tom. Maybe get the big win here today during the show. Then we project ahead to the matchup on Friday against NC State at 7 o'clock. Win that game. You're playing for a conference title again. This unlikely bunch.
I think as long as we just get one. That's all I care about. That's what I'm looking at. And it would be.
You worried that we're on the outside looking in, good sir?
I would prefer we did not go 0-2 in the ACC tournament because that might lead to the ultimate barbecue. The ultimate of barbecues for Mike Martin.
They're going to the postseason. It's going to be all right, man. They've done enough. They're not good, but they're not. They're a 6 seed. They're 35-20. They're 17-13 in the conference. They're not sitting over there sub 500 in the ACC. By the way, again, as a reminder how difficult it is to win a lot of games every single season the way Coach Martin has in his career, and you do have to duly note that, as disappointing a season as it's been, they are 15 games over 500. They're 5 wins away from 40 wins again. It hasn't been an unmitigated disaster. They're not very good. They lose to good teams. They lose to Florida every time they play them, and I got it. It's frustrating, but think about it. Virginia is not far removed from winning a national championship, and they're 14-16 in the ACC.
That's insane.
It happens. Clemson was cruising along until they rode into Tallahassee, got their head kicked in, and finished the season at 500 in the ACC, 15-15. So, it's...
That's a lot of ACC losses, too. I mean, we suffer
a short amount of time.
We suffer through 12 of them. I'm just saying, over the course of a whole season. And the past years, it's been a little bit rougher with the ACC schedule. But you suffer through 10 or 12, and you feel like, God, that's awful. What's wrong with us? And you're telling me a former national champion, we're not,
sub 500,
is sub 500 in the conference? Good.
I am telling you that.
Christmas.
I see it all the time, though, just again as a reminder that it's tough. It's not an easy thing to win that many games every year, and I don't want to take it for granted. And so, credit to him and credit to this team. Let's see if they can get something going here and give us a little excitement, just a little bit, just a little something here at the very end. All right, so bad news for FAMU today. Let's start there. Florida A&M is hit hard, and we'll see how this plays out. I don't. This is kind of breaking as we're talking, and Rory Schrock going to join us here later in the program. That. God, I hate to read these stories. I hate this information. FAM has had a hard go over the last 10, 15 years. Florida A&M was really close just this past year to claiming the MEAC title. How excited Willie Simmons had gotten the fan base and begun to turn things around, but they've now self-imposed, as FAMU, penalties including postseason bans for football, baseball, men's basketball, men's track and field, women's basketball, and volleyball for the upcoming 2019-2020 academic year due to NCAA infractions for allowing ineligible athletes to compete. The school has been placed on 5 years probation for lack of institutional control, according to the NCAA. Now, that's a big one. I will say this: 5 years probation. Okay,
You can work around that.
You
part
can work
of it,
around
yes.
probation. Got to be squeaky clean and careful. The story reads that the university improperly certified 93 student athletes in 12 sports, according to the NCAA committee. That's not good. So Rory Schrock will join us later in the program, and he does such a good job of covering all things Florida A&M for us and for the Tallahassee Democrat, and he'll join us on the program. We'll get some further information about FAMU being hit with NCAA probation fines, and most importantly, I would tell you this, from a competitive standpoint, scholarship reductions. And that's the first place I'd go for any school I care about, mine or any other for that matter. If you care about a school and you read that they're in trouble, the first thing you're going to look for is scholarship reductions because that affects, obviously, your ability to compete. And at that point, I mean, really on the field compete. Probation just kind of hangs over your head like a pall. You can get around it. A lot of times kids don't even really kind of pay attention to that. Scholarship reductions, concrete, you're going to have some problems.
Well, and considering, yes, that football is being more aggressive or has been told to be more aggressive in that department to reduce them for 2 years versus 1, that hurts, man. And it's just one of those deals where, and maybe Rory will have some light to shed on this, when you read that story about self-imposed sanctions and the NCAA finds lack of institutional control, you wonder if the NCAA compliance office said, all right, you can position it that you've done it or we will, but it's your call. Because the NCAA, they've reported to the NCAA that they have issues, that they have compliance issues, and now the NCAA is hearing about the case for the first time. And FAMU says, all right, we're going to get out in front of it, and here are the steps we're going to take to get out in front of it. This was like a simultaneous announcement that the NCAA did already find lack of institutional control, and here are the steps that Florida A&M Athletics is taking.
The problem with the overreaching problem here to me is that every time Florida A&M finds a nugget, a kernel of hope that things are returning to its once glorious past, something happens. There's a mistake made, or lots of them, a stubbing of the toe, if you will, on a large scale that sets Florida A&M back even further from reaching those heights in which FAMU alumni are so accustomed to. I mean, FAMU was across the board, academically and athletically, you could argue, for a long period of time, the most prestigious of the HBCUs. So it's a shame.
What they should have done is allowed regular students to become eligible for no damn reason and given them, degrees and such, because then they would have had the North Carolina defense, which is, well, we weren't just making this shortcut available to athletes. It was available for all people.
All people could cheat. Everybody was cheating here at Carolina for the better part of 30 years. You can't just single out athletics. We were all
that section was open to all students.
Yeah, everybody was cheating. It was the more the merrier.
When they showed up that first day of class and there was none, they said, woo.
All right.
Okay.
I like the way they get down here in Chapel Hill. Good choice on my part to come to UNC.
May have been a basketball assistant coach out there who said, listen, keep your mouth shut. You got an A. Now get the hell out of here.
This struck me as odd. Speaking of a read, Florida State and Florida's matchup will continue to end the regular season through at least 2022 with a 4-year extension to the in-state rivalry announced today. It's my understanding that this was like doctrine. This was a law. They were going to play at the end of every year for now until the end of time, in perpetuity. I mean, this was... So that struck me as interesting. Maybe I'm just ill-informed. The Seminoles and Gators are keeping their traditional Thanksgiving weekend slot, having played on the holiday weekend 32 times, including every year since 2005, with FSU holding a 17-14 and 1 edge in those matchups. The teams will play in Gainesville on November 30th, 2019, and November 27th, 2021, and face each other in Doak Campbell Stadium on November 28th, 2020, and November 26th, 2022. Florida State has won 7 of the last 9 games in the series, including a record 4 straight down in Gainesville. Own that ass down there in Gainesville.
I just wonder the way it's worded, and I'm sure Sports Info can, clarify this.
Maybe it's just specific to the Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, because the end of the year was always going to be the game.
And they may be innocent. Maybe you have that there just because that's where it appears on the schedule. But it just, I like you, have always put this in pen, for the rest of my life.
Right.
I don't need
just what's going to happen. You do remember Spurrier wanted to move it, and
Yes.
Jimbo agreed years later. Jimbo was asked about it, and he said he agreed to move the game or would have liked to. I get why both coaches, the coach for either side, would want to move that game.
Well, you'd only increase the reasons if, let's say, the college football playoff expanded to 8 teams, and it's a conference champion that gets an automatic bid, right? So now the conference championship game becomes even more important. You know, when the college football playoff was first rolled out, or when the BCS was still there, well, if you won your conference championship, it didn't guarantee anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might still be left out. But if they get to 8 and the conference championship is your ticket in, that's your guaranteed ticket to the dance, then yeah, you might want to move this game. But I mean, I'd prefer it where it is because that's the way it's always been for me. And Miami, unfortunately, hasn't been in a fixed position. Clemson's not in a fixed position. I wish they would be, but they're not. Florida certainly is, though.
I've always wanted Miami to be in October, the way that it always was for the longest time. And you know, I've told you this before because I'm a lot older than you, and I can remember when it happened.
This is true.
We used to play Miami and Florida occasionally at the end of the year, right back to back. It's nuts.
That is crazy. Now, we've had it 2 in 3 weeks, 2 games in 3 weeks several times since I've been here, but never back-to-back.
Yeah, I remember it was down in Gainesville. I think we lost 14-9. Game I went to with my dad down there, and it was I remember he was sick, and it was it was just an ugly game, but we were heartbroken because we'd lost to Miami in the game previous, and just kind of it looked like we were going through the motions.
If you're waiting for Florida State updates from Durham, they won't be coming for at least another 50 minutes, 50 minutes, because Boston College just edged Clemson in the 11th inning to win the first game of the ACC baseball tournament 7-5, excuse me.
50 minutes after the conclusion of Clemson BC is the announcement from the ACC tournament. Florida State in that game will throw Drew Parrish, who won this year, I think would argue that he had a disappointing season, but he also had a stretch where he was dominant the way that we figured him to be. Unfortunately, he capped the end of the regular season by getting lit like a Christmas tree by Louisville. 7-5 with a 5.07 ERA. Colin Palouse will start for Wake Forest. He went 3-8 with a 5.52 this year. We'll give you updates, as we said, as the day rolls along.
Yeah, so you're looking at roughly a 4.05 or 4.10 start for that game, Game 2. Of course, the first game of the tournament goes to 11 innings and pushes back a start time of Game 2. That's just the luck of it.
Buccaneers with a cut that everybody expected, perhaps a signing that nobody expected. It's all happened today in Tampa Bay. There is that. There is baseball. There is basketball. Golden State is awaiting the winner of the series that will be on these airwaves tonight after they took care of Portland last night. Coming back once again from down 17. Steph was simply fantastic. That team, just a complete team right now, doing what they do.
What a development. Golden State in the NBA Finals.
Yeah. Well, I told you, the matchup against Houston, that was it. That was all we had. And Golden State cruises, albeit in some really close games against Portland, but they sweep the series 4 games to none.
Here's hoping, because it looks like it's going to shape up this way, but you can never really know that after this year, then it's a wide open field for the next 2 or 3. There are true candidates, several of them.
I wonder how nervous LeBron James is getting that he made the ultimate snafu, that he decided to go out to L.A., one of the all-time great franchises in sports history, surely believing that he would find suitors to make their way to the Lakers, to the Los Angeles Lakers. And what if nobody comes? They all disperse and not one says yes to L.A., and you finish your career?
If LeBron flops at the Staples and nobody's there to see it,
I mean, geez,
does it happen?
What a crazy turn of events.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
More results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
And we're back with another edition of Spring Cleaning. Today, we want to know how you save energy, water, and money during a warmer season. Caller, you're on the air. What do you do to save energy?
With the warmer temperature, I know my AC is working overtime, so I make sure to replace my AC filter once a month.
Excellent suggestion. Next caller, you're on the air.
Well, the city of Tallahassee recommends that I take advantage of their grants and loans to get more insulation in my attic. That's really going to keep my cooling costs down.
These are some great suggestions. There are lots of ways to save. Caller, you're on the air.
I reduce energy for water heating by lowering my water heater temperature and installing low-flow shower heads.
We have time for one more caller. What do you have for us?
I make sure to use my programmable thermostat to regulate the temperature in my home when I'm away.
Thank you, caller. That's all the time we have today.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities would like to help you save as much energy as you can and save money while you're at it. Visit talgov.com for more information and start saving energy today.
Hendrick. It's the Hendrick Memorial Day sales event all month long at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Save big on over 200 new Buick and GMC cars, trucks, and SUVs. We are professional grade. Dale Jr. Buick GMC.com.
At Aaron's, we believe good people always deserve better. That's why during Aaron's Memorial Day event, good people like you can get started leasing to own top brands like GE, Samsung, and LG with no payment till June 15th and get 6 months same as cash. There's no credit needed and free delivery and setup. So don't miss your chance to get 6 months same as cash this Friday through Monday at Aaron's. Most stores are open on Sunday and Memorial Day. Transaction advertises a rental purchase agreement. Some restrictions apply. See participating store for details.
Your old gas yard tools have met their match. Right now, the Home Depot has Memorial Day savings on Ryobi's 40-volt cordless trimmer and blower combo kit, just $159. It has the performance of gas without the hassle. It's two powerful tools powered by a 40-volt lithium-ion battery platform. And right now, it's at a price no one can match. Today is the day for doing with Ryobi's trimmer blower combo, just $159, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through May 29th while supplies last.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
There used to be a rail car to take you down.
Rory Schrock will be on board with us here in the very near future. This will be a short segment as Rattler Review host. Rory Schrock, of course, covers Florida A&M as well as TCC for the Tallahassee Democrat, as well as working here at ESPN Radio. He'll join us, and we'll try to get a handle on the breaking news per Florida A&M Athletics and the self-imposed penalties in light of being charged with lack of institutional control. Not good news coming out of Florida A&M today. So we'll see what other details he can give us. News out of Tampa today was that Gerald McCoy got cut. That was coming. Bucks saved $13 million. You kind of figured that was a no-brainer. I know that it was a move made that Bruce Arians didn't want to talk about, and was asked about it today. He said didn't have any comment about it. This is just straight up the business. There's nothing salacious here. I mean, the Bucks are in salary cap. They have a salary cap issue. And so you got to make cuts. He's at the end of his career. He may have another year left in him or two. Good luck to him. I always thought he played hard. Had a couple seasons there where he was one of the better defensive linemen in all of football. He was never, a Warren Sapp, but who is? He was a very good player and a home run. When you draft a guy where they did, if he makes Pro Bowls and he's an anchor of your defense and plays to a upper echelon level for as long as he did, then you got it right. And they did get it right. It's just a shame in the entirety of his career in Tampa Bay, he never sniffed the postseason, 120-plus games, and never once got to the postseason. Brutal.
That is it's a brutal way to play out your career. I'm sure you never think of that when you're walking up to the commissioner, giving him a big bear hug on the night of your draft, and it's an emotional moment, and you think, all right, I'm going to arrive down there, and I'm going to be part of the reason this thing turns around. And it never did. We had one 9-7 season, though, right? So
yeah, it was Jameis's second season, right?
Was he there for Freeman's 10-6 season, too? Was that just before he – because we didn't go to the playoffs. We still didn't make it. But.
Right. Well, it's, 10 years in Tampa Bay? So you go back before that? Yeah, it would have been.
So you might have seen a couple of those.
Yeah. So it's brutal. And look, moving forward, it looks like the Bucks are probably going to sign Ndamukong Suh.
Barring any late hang-ups, according to Adam Schefter.
Yeah, so it looks like they're on the phone with him and trying to finalize what would be, I would assume, a one-year deal.
Yeah, 2010 was the 10-6 season for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm sorry, it's so hard to remember these things because we never made the playoffs. We haven't made the playoffs since Gruden was the head coach.
It's so funny. The time you get, the grace period that you're allowed when you win a Super Bowl, you and I used to have an ongoing, on the air as well as off the air, conversation about what does a Super Bowl championship buy you? What does a national championship buy you? And here's what I figured out. Not much. If you suck. If you make the playoffs and don't go back to the Super Bowl, you get longer. If you have good seasons in football and you don't win another national championship in college, you can still live off that championship that happened a few years earlier. When you get to where you're not any good at all, those seem like very, very distant memories.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
0598.
Hardee's used to think bowls were useless dishware. Then we created the new Loaded Hash Round Bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with Easy Laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's Easy Laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Cigars of Tally is your one-stop shop for everything cigars. With 2 convenient locations, Cigars of Tally is here to serve you. The 1401 Market Street location is right off I-10 and great for travelers and after-work stops. The Midtown location, Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar at 926 North Monroe Street, is great for those winding down from a long day. With the largest humidor in town, affordable cigar lockers, a large covered patio, and private conference rooms, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Cigars of Tally, open 7 days a week. Need cigars? Get your ash in here.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a 2-year extension for Patriots receiver Julian Edelman, one of quarterback Tom Brady's favorite targets. Edelman, the MVP of Super Bowl 53, agreed with the team on a 2-year extension, $19 million in new money, $12 million guaranteed, an $8 million signing bonus as well. Redskins safety Landon Collins doesn't have a whole lot of love for his former team, the Giants. He told ESPN he thinks his exit from New York was due to the team's culture change and sending players who were too vocal and had expansive non-football platforms packing. Collins said he was most surprised by the trades of star receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and defensive lineman Damon Harrison. Collins also said there was a stunning lack of communication by Giants GM Dave Gettleman. Tonight, it's time for Game 4 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals with the Bucks visiting the Raptors. Besides a spot in the NBA Finals, there's plenty at stake for both teams in the series, points out ESPN NBA writer Kevin Arnovitz.
The Milwaukee Bucks, for them, they hope this is the first in a long sequence of appearances. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a generational talent. He's 24 years old. They're going to be back here in late May many times in the future. At least that's the hope. The Raptors have a lot riding on this series. They have Kawhi Leonard with no guarantee he stays beyond this summer.
Milwaukee leads the series 2-1. Game 4 coverage 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. NHL's Western Conference Final. Injured Sharks defenseman Erik Karlsson and center Tomas Hertl are both out of tonight's Game 6 against the Blues. Center Joe Pavelski game time decision. San Jose is down 3-2. WNBA, Seattle guard Sue Bird will undergo arthroscopic surgery on her left knee. She's out indefinitely. The Storm begins the defense of its 2018 title on Saturday.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
And Lawn Maintenance Tuesday to you and yours. Thanks for tuning in. Not a good situation unraveling over at Florida A&M, and joining me to talk about it today as the news breaks is Rory Schrock, of course, host Rattler Review right here on ESPN Radio. They just had Rory, didn't you just have the end of the year wrap up and everything? My goodness gracious, this is not good.
Yeah, man, I thought that everything was going to be all good, a nice little put a bow on the box, and then this bombshell drops, man.
So let me start with this for our listeners who don't know what I'm alluding to. This has only been out for a little while today, and it's that Florida A&M was hit with NCAA probation, hit with fines and scholarship reductions. The latter part of that there, the scholarship reductions, is devastating for most athletic programs. This on the heels of a season that had everybody excited when you talk about it from football. Obviously, baseball, they won the MEAC championship as well. It's been a good year at Florida A&M for Florida A&M athletics, and really things seem to be upwardly mobile. Things seem to be moving in the right direction. And now this bombshell drops, and you have a program that is potentially devastated by it What can you tell us as to the latest? And I know that a lot of this was, of course, self-imposed by FAMU. What did you find out about the infractions during the 2019-2020 the 2018-2019 seasons?
Well, with this issue that here is just on top of just the APR thing that happened earlier in February, two separate matters, but nevertheless, it just looks bad for the university. With this, all of these issues occurred prior to the current administration of Dr. Larry Robinson as president, Dr. John Eason as athletics director. And the NCAA is citing a lack of institutional control where players were being suited up who were ineligible for their status to compete based on what the NCAA's code of ethics are.
And those violations occurred in 2016, 2017, and some of the problems date back, if I understand this properly, as far back as 2010.
That's right. So this is an ongoing thing that they were trying to resolve from the previous administration. Dr. Eason has only been on the job as of a year this past December, and Dr. Robinson took over as president in November. So even though they walked into an ugly situation, they kind of get the brunt of the blame, where people are going to and it comes with the territory. They're going to point the finger and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" And this is just the credibility within the department, because so many things have been going on. They don't get the benefit of the doubt, and it's a sad day here at Florida A&M University, and it couldn't have happened at a worse time. Like you said, they just won the MEAC baseball championship Saturday. Great ball game against Norfolk State, and then so much promise for the football team after last year, and now there's a self-imposed ban for this current school year. So no matter what happens, when the season ends against Bethune-Cookman, that's it.
I think you can look at this one of two ways. Obviously, it's never good to hear about these sanctions and to hear about scholarship reductions and fines, and lack of institutional control is a phrase that obviously causes one to cringe. But when you note that it was from the previous administration and the previous athletic department, you now have a president in Larry Robinson accepting full responsibility, saying, okay, here's the deal. It doesn't matter that I wasn't at the helm at the time this occurred. Dr. Eason doing the same. It doesn't matter that I wasn't in place during these infractions. What does matter is that we resolve this and move forward collectively. And today's announcement, in essence, allows them to do that. Now, in the interim, you got to suffer the burden of these sanctions, and it does stifle momentum a bit based on what we just saw in the two sports we just alluded to, certainly. But I wonder, have you had a chance to talk to Coach Willie Simmons yet? And has he given you thoughts on this announcement? And also, just how devastating of an effect will this have, do you think, on the football program? Again, most notably making huge strides a year ago, getting people excited once again about FAMU football, and a belief that once again the Rattlers could be back atop the MEAC, where they sat forever and a day, it seemed like, for a long, long time. After all, FAMU was one win away from winning the MEAC. A lot of people, despite the disappointment at the end of the year, felt like, oh, this is a program on the rise. We're going to celebrate again in next season, and once he gets his players in here, this thing's going to be humming. How much of a setback is this now?
Well, I did catch up with Coach Willie Simmons briefly. He was on the road right now. We didn't really get to dive deep into the matter, but it is hurtful. It's devastating. He's trying to digest everything that's going with it. But it is something that is just, it takes the wind out of the sails. And I was speaking with some people within the department asking, how is this going to affect ticket sales? Because with nothing to play for, are fans still going to show up to Bragg Memorial Stadium? They have 6 home games. Again, just like last year, are fans going to come out, or are they going to be like, what's the point? And they're going to be upset with everything and not show up. And I feel really bad for the seniors, because they were so close last year to be right at the end and lose 3 in a row and blow the chance to be in the Celebration Bowl. The whole mantra this offseason was about, we were there, we know what we can do, we're gonna finish the deal. We're gonna cross the finish line and be in the Celebration Bowl, be MEAC champions again, restore that aura that FAMU football had for so long, as you mentioned. And now it's about, okay, what are we gonna do? It's summer break, like some are here working out, some are at home, but it's like when the season rolls around in August, we're just playing for pride. And how much of that can you muster up to perform well? When the APR ban happened in February, the basketball team was on the cusp of they looked like they were going to make some noise in the MEAC tournament. Then once that news hit, you could see the difference. It was night and day, and they just played out the rest of the regular season and then went home.
Did the coaching staff, or the various staffs, I should say, expect this? How many in the university administration knew of these sanctions before today?
I think that they had to know of some things. I mean, they mentioned how it was no secret, but they were trying their best to do whatever they can to work out whatever issues, to resolve, double and triple check, leave no stone unturned to see if they could be in the clear. Of course, I'm sure the higher ups knew, and some down a few notches on the pay grade may not have known. But it's interesting that Coach Willie Simmons wasn't here also when this happened. And it's the same thing for basketball, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, and track. None of these coaches that are currently in their jobs right now were here when all of this happened. Nevertheless, they have to pay for it. And you can go undefeated. You can set every record under the sun. Next school year, when the regular season ends, you pack your bags and you go home.
I'll say this. You wondered aloud whether or not the fans would return to Bragg Stadium and support all of the athletic programs across the board that are suffering the consequences of a previous administration and previous transgressions. I would say that you could make a real argument that now would be the time to do that, would be the time to help transition because you have guys that were not at fault. Men and women had nothing to do with the resulting penalties that we read about today. And I will say the quote from FAMU President Larry Robinson, I think, again, puts it in proper perspective, which is you can't solve a problem unless you acknowledge it and face it head on, look to remedy it the best you can and move forward. Quote, while we cannot change the circumstances of the past, we have accepted full responsibility for the infractions, committed to running an athletic program that is in full compliance with the NCAA rules and regulations. Rest assured, we have taken steps to address these issues, reduce the likelihood of any reoccurrence. We'll meet and exceed the NCAA's expectations to ensure that FAMU athletics remains in compliance with all of its standards. That's all he can really say. I think that's a very direct approach and say we're going to take it on the chin here. We're now in response to the past. We're now current. We're doing the things that we need to in compliance, and we'll move forward from here. It's just a shame that next season obviously ends with a thud by definition because there is nowhere to go when you impose these kinds of sanctions. But the following year, obviously you have a chance. So it is a shame for the seniors, as you noted, who really had nothing to do with it.
Right.
But hopefully they do play for pride. And you know, listen, you balled. You're a competitor. You play for pride. You play to win. You play to win the game.
That's right.
And hopefully they do next year and help create a path moving forward that allows for the winning to continue. It will be tough, though, with sanctions and obviously with scholarship reductions in particular.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're HBCUs as a whole, I don't care if it's FAMU, Howard, Johnson C. Smith, Grambling State, they're all suffering in terms of finances and financial resources. When you 10%, when you cut that much, even if it's just all I'm working with is $100 and now I just have $90, that changes things drastically. And so you have to think of new ways and hope for the best that you can get the type of kids that you can build a program for, and so that you can have some sustainability and some sense of forward direction, that you are going to be winning and that this is what it is right now, but it's not the way it's going to be. And that's the prediction that FAMU is in right now.
Rory, one thing I will say, and just to clarify for everybody here, a reduction in scholarships by 10% for the football program during the 2019-2020 and 2020-21 academic years. Is that correct?
Yes. That hurts, man.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say, no, just just this upcoming year. And then I know there's a reduction in scholarships by 10% for each of the following programs: baseball, men's basketball, men's track and field, women's basketball, and volleyball as well, correct?
Yes.
That $5,000 fine plus a percentage of the athletic budget penalty as well. That's also in place?
Yes, and that's 3% of the budget.
The total athletics
budget.
budget.
And again, it's in the big scheme of things, 3%, that's not that bad. But when you're dealing with the resources that they have, I mean, University of Alabama, they print their own money. Notre Dame prints its own money. FAMU is not the same ballpark as those schools.
Yeah. Thank you, Rory, for helping bring clarification to a story that stinks to have to report, but certainly your information is always appreciated. You do a great job, buddy. Good talking to you.
Thanks, my man, Jeff. Have a good day, bro.
All right, you too. Take care. Rory Schrock. You can hear him here on ESPN Radio with Rattler Review. You can read his stuff, certainly in the Tallahassee Democrat. Does a great job, and he's been a welcomed addition to our staff, that's for sure. Man, I hate that story, but a story nonetheless, and now you hope you move on because, as he correctly noted, nobody that is running programs in the athletic department currently were in their positions when these transgressions occurred. They will suffer the consequences, however, for the actions of those that came before.
Plain and simple, it all builds up to the crescendo of the Florida Classic this year. That's it, man.
Yeah, no, he's got a program moving in the right direction. He's going to seriously be hampered by a loss of scholarships. Willie had created a buzz in year one, a remarkable buzz. To what degree that slows momentum, we won't know for another couple of years. We can rightfully deduce that it's going to be significant because the limiting the number of people that you can offer a scholarship to by definition creates a disadvantage. But also whatever buzz was created by a winning season and being one game away from winning the MEAC was something you could walk into a living room and sell. You see, we're upwardly mobile, we're ascending, we're in a place now that we haven't been in years. I've got us moving in the right direction. You're going to be part of the solution. And when the kid turns around and says, yeah, and for another couple of years, I can't go to any kind of postseason, and you go, well, that's true.
Well, if it's just for the scholarship reduction, if I have this correct, is for 2 years for football, which makes it, doubly hard from some of the other programs that are just doing
but
a
just
one-year
the
reduction.
1 year for not going to the postseason.
If you're coming in as a freshman, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sit tight. Hang in there, man. Just we'll work together. We'll get you all set. We'll get you in our training program. By the time you're ready to go your sophomore year or your redshirt freshman year, we can go right back to the Celebration Bowl, and that's where we're going, damn it. That would be my pitch.
As is usually the case, when we read about these things, when they occur at any university, the group that is there to suffer the consequences for the coaches and the administrators that skirted the rules previous suffer the most. And it's a shame because obviously the coaches that are there now and the players who helped engineer the season they did a year ago for the football team had nothing to do with it. And they suffer the consequences. That's the reality. I mean, there's not much else you can do, but that's...
So when I saw Rory break the news a few hours ago, and I just considered it without reading, the details of what FAMU was alleged to have done to get the label of institutional control being lacking, I thought, man, you kidding me? So we're going years with the North Carolina situation, and they don't get so much as a slap on the wrist because they're fake courses. Their fake courses were available to all students. But FAMU has to deal with lack of institutional control and all of these penalties that are self-imposed, and I wonder how much they had a choice to self-impose those.
Right.
And then I looked at the particulars of all the things that went wrong, and I mean, if you're the NCAA in this situation, I know we hate their inconsistency, but if you
inconsistencies.
If you read all the things, I mean, you're
there's
talking about 100-some-odd instances of an infraction. Your hands are kind of tied as the NCAA. If that's not lack of institutional control, what the hell is?
The problem is the NCAA's reputation, which takes a hit on the regular, rightfully so, always seems to vigorously chase down low-hanging fruit from institutions that don't have the ability to fight back and tend to find a way to ignore, overlook, or not, with a great sense of urgency, pursue against the larger institutions.
100% agree with you. Yes, that is most certainly what they do. That's real. That actually
exactly
happens. That's
what
not opinion.
Do. Yes.
But if there were 8 instances over the course of 7 years.
Yeah, two things can be simultaneously true. You hate the way the NCAA operates and how vigorously they pursue these kinds of things against schools that have less financial means, and also they could be guilty. both are true in this case.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Take me out to the ball game.
Indeed. And with weather like this, it's good to see you out on this magnificent, sizable deck.
It is quite impressive. You can see it all the way from the stadium.
What a deck. What a deck indeed.
I hear that a lot.
You know, I remember, what was it, mid-90s you opened up? Place was so small.
Now it's huge.
All I know is a lot of good times have been spent on this deck. Man, people enjoy it. They laugh, they sing, they drink, they eat, and they celebrate all the goodness of the Gordo's deck.
And you can come have a Gordo Smash.
Delicious. Sitting on the deck with a Gordo Smash. That's a good day at the office.
Or put a Cuban in your mouth.
And other food. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
We're back with a state champion. That's right, a state champion head coach. His name is Titus Nixon. He is the basketball coach at St. John Paul II Catholic High School. Coach, how long have you been involved with athletics at JP2?
So I've been involved for 8 years as a coach. I was an assistant, and then 2 years as the girls basketball coach. And then I just completed my 5th year as the boys basketball coach. I also spent my junior and senior years as a student at JP2 in the early years of the school's beginning.
What does it say, though, about the culture of an institution that you graduate from there almost 15 years ago, but here you are still spending your time back at that school?
I think it says a lot. The fact that my wife didn't graduate from JP2, but we both felt drawn back to help in some way. And we weren't even living in Tallahassee, and we always had this thought of, man, it would be so neat if I could go back and help in some way. And when I was named the coach 5 years ago, it was very special, and people thought I was crazy when I said in 5 years we're going to win a state championship. Maybe even I thought I was a little crazy, and it was just so cool to see the program develop over these last 5 years. And we've seen that in many of the sports at JP2. We have so many committed coaches, so many committed teachers that really lay it all on the line day in and day out to try to provide a a great atmosphere and a lifelong positive experience for these students in their high school years.
Coach, thanks for your time. For more information about athletics, academics, student life, visit sjpiichs.org for St. John Paul II Catholic High School.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You know, you asked yesterday whether or not I was getting tired of Clemson. It was reaching that place where we could be seriously pissed off and turn that into a legit rivalry because the two fan bases have always been too friendly. But, I said at that time, you really got to ascend to a place where we're playing in the kind of game where the stakes are high, as De La Soul said. And I have yet to really see that to where it played out in such a way that would leave us devastated enough to work up enough vitriol. We're just not competitive. So the game's, it's sort of like when Urban Meyer was beating our ass. You're just kind of like, well, I hate Florida, but this just doesn't even feel like a rivalry game. We're just coming in here, it's, the lambs being led to the slaughter. So when both teams are playing for a right to go to the college football playoff and there's a lot on the line, that tends to engender the kind of response you're looking for.
We are currently Rorschach, just yelling to the much better rival.
Do it! Do it! So here's what I'll tell you really quickly. You know where some of my vitriol is beginning to head? Because I don't trust it, and I know it's not on the up and up. Georgia, who just signed Jalen Carter, the number 10 rated defensive tackle for 2020, and Georgia won his services over Alabama and Clemson. And they are, as I've noted, out-recruiting the entirety of the SEC East in a way that is criminal, maybe legitimately criminal. This is unbelievable. Every time I look up.
You're not saying you're just saying, or no, screw that. I'm saying.
I'm saying he learned well at Alabama.
So Alabama is doing things illegally.
Yeah.
Ooh, easy. Okay. So even though they could recruit on reputation at this point, Alabama's still
listen,
doing what they need to do. Huh?
All I'm telling you is the 6'4", 300-pound rising senior from Apopka High School in Florida is on his way up to Georgia.
Well, I mean, did Florida make the final group? Because it's not like we're giving him a lot of options in this state. He's not going to UCF.
Let's go to Tallahassee, Florida, my man. Let's stay in the state and get it done right here. Let's hold it down for Florida State. We don't need to go to Georgia. The final cut was Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia, and he chose Georgia.
That kid's like, I get all of 5 years. One of them's a red shirt. You had all of 5 wins. Do something this year, and maybe I'll visit.
You could help us. You could help us make that happen. I'm just telling you, we need to get seriously crack-a-lacking on the drugs money hose. Let's go.
He wants to play for a winner, so that's what we got to do.
Let's go. We've got work to do here. Pancakes. Sizable amounts of pancakes. Damn it, man.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The window's down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation. Fonville Lewis Mester McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Mester McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
It's springtime in Tallahassee, and that means we're enjoying the best weather this city has to offer. That's why now's the time to hit the deck. That's right, the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee. From the folks who brought you Metro Deli, the Deck Pizza Pub is Tallahassee's home for the best Neapolitan pizza, along with the best craft beer and drink specials in town. Enjoy college night specials on Monday, legislative aid specials on Tuesday, and happy hour Monday through Friday, plus all day Saturday. The Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee, the old Po' Boys location off College Avenue. Hit the deck this spring. Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth, thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hendrick. New way to buy, new roads to drive. That's what you'll find at the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet, a proud member of the Hendrick Automotive Group. We've completely reinvented the car buying experience, making trusted, honest service our top priority and putting you first. We're ready to prove it to you. So come check out our fantastic selection today. Find new roads and your new Chevrolet right here on Tennessee Street or shop online at DaleJuniorChevy.com.
I've been around a long time, seeing a lot of gadgets show up that are supposed to make my job easier. Digital screwdrivers, Hammer 2.0, the new improved nail, now with more pointiness. You know what really makes my job easier? Grainger. Easy reordering, easy inventory solutions, and easy to do business with every time. Gadgets come and go. You want reliability. You want Grainger. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The 2019 Atlanta Braves are ready to defend their title as the season gets rolling.
Delivers, and it's hit in the air to left field deep. Still going. He's at the warning track, and this one is gone.
Atlanta Braves baseball on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass, and by the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a 2-year extension for Patriots receiver Julian Edelman, one of quarterback Tom Brady's favorite targets. Edelman, the MVP of Super Bowl 53, agreed with the team on a 2-year extension, $19 million in new money, $12 million guaranteed, an $8 million signing bonus as well. Redskins safety Landon Collins doesn't have a whole lot of love for his former team, the Giants. He told ESPN he thinks his exit from New York was due to the team's culture change and sending players who were too vocal and had expansive non-football platforms packing. Collins said he was most surprised by the trades of star receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and defensive lineman Damon Harrison. Collins also said there was a stunning lack of communication by Giants GM Dave Gettleman. Tonight, it's time for Game 4 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals with the Bucks visiting the Raptors. Besides a spot in the NBA Finals, there's plenty at stake for both teams in the series, points out ESPN NBA writer Kevin Arnovitz.
The Milwaukee Bucks, for them, they hope this is the first in a long sequence of appearances. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a generational talent. He's 24 years old. They're going to be back here in late May many times in the future. At least that's the hope. The Raptors have a lot riding on this series. They have Kawhi Leonard with no guarantee he stays beyond this summer.
Milwaukee leads the series 2-1. Game 4 coverage 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. NHL's Western Conference Final. Injured Sharks defenseman Erik Karlsson and center Tomas Hertl are both out of tonight's Game 6 against the Blues. Center Joe Pavelski game time decision. San Jose is down 3-2. WNBA, Seattle guard Sue Bird will undergo arthroscopic surgery on her left knee. She's out indefinitely. The Storm begins the defense of its 2018 title on Saturday.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com, where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. All 3 hours going to be posted, though, if you do, both to iTunes and our own audio vault. Email the show, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. YouTube and Periscope. Hello, kiddos. Yeah, Tom, I was thinking during the break, shouldn't every school do what North Carolina did, though? Skirt the NCAA compliance enforcement rules because of a loophole that is those classes are supposedly available to all North Carolina students. That's how UNC got around it, just like FSU's music theory class should have been used in that way. We just didn't know enough to find the loophole, I guess, and we told on ourselves, which was a terrible mistake. Can't everybody do that?
Can't you retroactively apply that to our case? The NCAA changes rulings all the time.
Yeah, that's true. We should, damn it. Maybe FAMU can use it here. Hey, listen.
Then Bobby Bowden would have the record for most wins by a coach who didn't look the other way for child rape. It's number 1 in my book. By a lot more wins.
Oh, by far. I don't think anybody seriously adheres to the vacated losses thing or wins thing. I don't think that happens. UCLA doesn't feel like they won that game.
Save for like that guy in the NCAA office. He's like, well,
now hold on.
Hang on.
Yeah. Right. That's it. Nobody else does. Man, we could use some good news today. Florida State could win a baseball game. Is there any update time for that ass? If they gotten that thing started, it was delayed because the previous game went 11 innings. Boston College edges Clemson. By the way, Clemson loses today, as does the University of Florida. Just a side note. But it pushed our game back, not the Florida loss, but rather the
Florida was up 5-3 late. Okay, that was a Texas A&M rally then.
What a shame. But the
put your boots on.
Yeah,
it's a victory.
Gig 'em. But there you go. So that happened, and now we're obviously looking to get a win. Any update time for that?
We are just 4 minutes away from first pitch. 4:10 p.m. We were correct last hour when we surmised 4:05, 4:10, somewhere in there. So it's a 4:10 first pitch from Durham.
4:37, they'll get it started now that we know that. So we shall see. Anyhow, with updates, it'll happen as Florida State has a chance. I don't know. 2 wins. 2 wins, man. Next thing you know, there you are. Wouldn't it be funny if they won the ACC championship?
It would be funny. It would also be a relief.
Wouldn't even be stunning either. Baseball is such a fickle sport. I mean, hey, if you don't believe it, Florida State 35-20, 17-13 is the number 6 seed. You know who the number 5 seed is? North Carolina 38-17, 17-13 in the conference. Same record. Miami is the 4 seed. We throw the ball over the lot, or else we win that series as well. 38-17, 18-12 in the ACC. I don't know, man. Wouldn't shock me.
But you get up the ladder towards a team like a Louisville or
Really only Louisville.
and then we play NC State, so you'd eliminate
You'd
them.
have already eliminated them, and it's a one-off. It's a baseball game.
I think the
benefit,
the benefit you might have from playing this early and having to wait for 2 full days plus a couple hours before game 2 is that maybe Parrish would be available, obviously, in the championship game if he got there because he pitched on a Tuesday. So if you're doing a Tuesday-Sunday thing or whenever the hell that championship game is, I would think he'd be good to go for at least 50 to 70 pitches.
It's interesting when you look at Florida State. I was going through some numbers here just for fun, and I was just looking at just basic numbers: batting average, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, runs scored, hits, runs batted in, doubles, triples, home runs, all that kind of stuff, right? Just basic numbers, not advanced metrics necessarily. If you go through batting average, Florida State doesn't have a guy in the top 3. Slugging percentage, Florida State doesn't have a guy in the top 3. On-base percentage, we have the third best in the league in Drew Mendoza on base at a 480 clip. Runs scored, nobody in the top 3. Hits, nobody in the top 3. Runs batted in, nobody in the top 3. Doubles, nobody in the top 3. Triples, nobody in the top 3. Home runs, nobody in the top 3. I mean,
It's a pretty bad year. But we may survive it, get to the regionals, and
we're going to win the ACC championship, Tom.
Oh, my
turn
God.
Turn that into an epic postseason run that sees us back out in Omaha for
comes
11.
a 3-spot for Wake in the first.
Oh, we can overcome that. It'll be a 14-12 game, man. It's something like that, exciting like that.
So the next game won't start till 10 p.m.?
They'll be so pissed. But victories, that's all you're doing now, counting those victories. I do not worry on the whole about whether or not Florida State's postseason bound. We were worried about that as recently as a week ago. Getting that win against Louisville, the one win, certainly I think cements getting in. I think they were probably in anyhow. Again, I've said before, the committee is going to want to put Florida State in if they can, if we just gave them a reason. Top 6 seed in the ACC, winning record in the conference, 35. Yeah, they'll find a way in. But it's just a matter of what you do with that. Now, do I expect a run? Am I just being facetious, tongue-in-cheek here? Yes, I don't expect this team to do anything. They're not. I mean, the one thing they haven't been able to do for any real period of time is string together 4, 5, 6 really quality starts, performances at the plate, in the field. Play 5 good games in a row. Just a stretch of 5 games where you play really well. You do everything right.
Well, the good news is you'd only need to play about 3 in a row in regional weekend and 2 in a row in super regional weekend, or 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Because if you can win the first 3 games in the regional's over.
Well, we couldn't win one of them last year.
Yes, but we're going on the road this year. And so we're going to take this show on the road. We're going to take this show. Wait till you see what we do in the Road Grays.
Man, how great would that be,
Which
man?
actually are kind of our best baseball uniform.
The Road Grays?
The gray with the garnet is one hell of a look, yes.
I like the uniforms we're wearing today. The white with the garnet is beautiful. We're
in general, the baseball ones are pretty nice. Softball by extension as well, because a lot of them are the same. Like the Sunday golds that they wore when we beat
our softball uniforms are awesome.
They are killer.
Yeah.
And the matte helmet with the 3D FS on it, it's a good look right there.
I like. And speaking of which, there is news on the softball front that the Friday game has been moved from the afternoon till 7 o'clock in the evening.
Right, from the dead heat of the day to 7 p.m.
Which doesn't do me any good, because I'm going out of town. But I would tell you that if we'd played it earlier, maybe, but now 7 o'clock, no chance in hell. But I will also say this. I have such confidence that I'm not worried. It's the last I'll see the softball team. They're going to win. They're going to cruise. I'll see them on TV.
They'll be on ESPN.
In the College World Series.
That is ESPN proper, not some RSN feed. ESPN proper, 7 p.m. Friday. Maybe that had something to do with the basketball playoffs opening up some time slots as Golden State sweeps Portland.
Milwaukee, Toronto tonight, 8:30 is the tip for that game. Our coverage begins, I believe, at 7:45 right here on 97.9 ESPN. 7:30. We'll have that coverage for you. That's the only remaining compelling series, as the other one is over. It can't be compelling if it's not in existence. Golden State comes back from down 17 last night. Second time in the series they were down 17, where it looked like Portland had a real good opportunity to close out and get a win. But Golden State's too good. hit too many shots, got that game into overtime, hit the threes, and Steph was simply unbelievable last night. And they're actually a lot more fun to watch as currently constructed as opposed to when Kevin Durant's there. I mean, oftentimes it just feels unfair when he's there, but also it feels a little bit more bogged down. This is free and fun, and, man.
Believe it's next Thursday is when the finals start, so they get all kinds of rest.
Won't be a very compelling finals no matter who comes out of this Milwaukee-Toronto series, I don't believe. Hopefully Toronto wins tonight, forces this thing along towards a Game 7. You get it even at 2-2. I'd like to see it.
You don't think Milwaukee could push it to 6?
I mean, here's what I'll say. For me, for a series to be compelling, I have to believe that the team, one of the combatants, has a chance to win it. Any chance, just a chance to win it. And I don't think either one of these two teams have a chance in hell. Snowball's chance in hell of beating Golden State.
So you think Toronto has a chance to win the series?
I do.
Regardless, I mean, well,
yes.
What happens tonight actually greatly matters. But.
Yes, it greatly matters. They lose tonight, they're not going to win the series. They're going to lose the series.
But
if
you thought,
they win tonight,
before the series started, that Toronto had a crack at it?
I thought Toronto, who rested their players the vast majority of the seasons, in particular their most important player arguably in the East, and Kawhi Leonard for a good bit of the season, game for game in the regular season, hung in there with Milwaukee, was just a few games different. They were basically as good a team as Milwaukee all season long.
That's been a popular talking point in the playoffs is rest management, load management, and how the old-timers are not big fans of it. Are you okay with it? It sounds like it.
I'm fine with it. I don't know that there is a direct correlation to success or not. I think there have been enough instances where players have rested an exceeding number of minutes throughout the regular season only to get beaten in the postseason and look exactly as they looked before. And there have been players that have played in excess of what would be considered a normal load of minutes or something that harkens back to the 80s when everybody played every minute and didn't take any time off, and gone on into the postseason and played exceedingly well and went on to win a championship. So I don't know that there's enough data to show me empirically that a player that is a superstar player that carries his team is any better off or not when they rest as much as Kawhi Leonard did. I don't know that the data's there. Are guys in worse shape today than they were yesteryear? I don't think so. I don't know. It's weird because they have the advantage and the ability to better gauge, not only workouts, but just medical conditions. They understand if a guy's at 70%, there's a way of noting that in a way they couldn't in 1984.
Nobody's going to confuse a baseball player with a basketball player, athlete for athlete, like ever. There may be like one or two, that could do a little bit of both at a high level, NBA and MLB, but I mean, really, they're kind of a different caliber. But Keith Hernandez's theory, so I just preface that because Keith Hernandez is not.
I like Keith Hernandez. He's out there, yeah.
Right, but he's not a basketball level athlete. But his theory was, listen, we slacked off in the offseason because your body needs time to repair.
Mm-hmm.
You do this all year. I mean, you do it all year, every year. At some point, your body's going to break down. Wouldn't it be better off to let your body have some time to prepare, or at least a little bit more of a middle ground, than full year training to where your body is in a place where it's potentially straining itself?
Well, I think we know enough from a standpoint of studying how the body is affected, not only from a nutrition standpoint, but the wear and tear, the muscle usage, exercise physiology. They have figured out proper rest. I mean, I think athletes now obviously are better than they've ever been, just like they'll be even better 10 years from now. That's the way it works. They just get better and better and better. The more information we have and we utilize, the better off we are. So I would suggest that if there are trainers, the elite trainers in each field that are compelled to tell a LeBron James or anybody else, this is what you need to do in the off season, it's probably the best medical science has to offer. It's the best that we know.
That's fair, but LeBron has taken some sabbaticals, and he has changed his body drastically a couple of times over the course of his career. Dwayne Wade did it the more natural way, which is when you get older, you just get bigger a little bit, and because you can't get up and down the way you used to. What the beginning of that Heat tenure when LeBron got down there, he was a little bit more jacked.
Jacked too, yeah.
But when LeBron, remember when he left from Miami to Cleveland, he slimmed down significantly, only to put that weight back on quickly, like really quickly.
Well, I know you've always wondered about that and raised an eyebrow about that. I just wonder, listen, Michael Jordan was asked to do everything for his team at all times, and he wasn't taking games off because they were on the road on a Wednesday against Toronto. He was playing, he was lighting your ass up, and he was doing it again the next day. And I know that you use Michael Jordan, and he's an outlier, but I dare say that, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, let's go on through the ages all the way up to modern times. The best players played. They just played, and they're in the best. They're young. They're in incredible shape. This is what they do. They train to do this. They put themselves in a position to succeed at this level because of how competitive and how focused and how well they treat their bodies and how they maintain a proper regimen of sleep and nutrition. I mean, you're telling me that the guys 20 years ago could do this, could play a lot more and still excel in the playoffs, and the modern athlete, LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard, can't?
Yeah, my whole thing is it seems like, and maybe it's wrong because I've never been on the beat of a professional team, but it seems like the workout matters more than the game, like all year long. Like almost as though the game is a hindrance to what you're trying to do in the workout. It seems counterintuitive. Like the game should be the payoff and the reason you're training, where it seems like sometimes you're getting in the way of your training by playing too many games in a short period of time because you can't get your work in. But your work is the game.
I think we have gotten to a place, and I guess I will concede here, where guys recognize whether you're and it changes by the year because seeding does matter in certain years more than others. But if you recognize that you're the best team, your starting five's the best team, and the bench shortens in the postseason, it becomes a half-court game. And if you recognize that, as currently constructed, you're the team to beat based on the way the game's played in the postseason, and you get to that realization 50 games in, if you want to begin to rest guys down the stretch because it doesn't matter to you if you're the 2 or the 3, or the 3 or the 4.
Right.
Then, okay, fine. I can understand wanting to do that, especially if you're nursing some wear and tear. You've got, some inflammation.
Well, yeah, something crops up.
Yeah, something crops up. But I'm telling you now, to me, I think fans get cheated, and also I'm not real sure there's a direct correlation with resting for the sake of resting. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing swollen. There's no pains. There's nothing. You're fine. And you want to just take a Tuesday off because for the purposes of, Game 5 and round 2 of the postseason, I don't know that those directly correlate at all.
I was going to say, I guess the genesis of my question was, you said you keep citing that that they rested their players during the season. Is that to say that you believe they have a better chance in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Oh, no. My argument was that how could a team that rested its best player excessively be within a couple of games record-wise of Milwaukee if Milwaukee was exceedingly great? To me, they were basically the same team. That Toronto did almost as much as Milwaukee while resting their best player for that amount of game. That's all I was saying. Now, listen, Milwaukee's got a real good team, and I think Toronto's a real good team, but they both, to me, are nowhere near what Golden State's going to feature when we get to the next level. So this is the last series that's really, to me, compelling. We'll watch the coronation of Golden State once the finals gets there.
Will we?
Probably not.
But
right.
Will we?
I mean, a little bit here and there. I mean, unless I'm just absolutely stunned. I mean, Kawhi Leonard's going to have to average 50 in that series if Toronto goes, and, Giannis is going to have to average 50 if Milwaukee goes. They're going to have to do superhuman things. Their superstar players are going to have to carry the load in a way that I don't know. I don't think it can be done. They don't match up. Golden State's got too many weapons.
If it gets to 2-0 or 3-1, I'm not.
I'm not watching either.
Not watching.
Nah, it's over.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Infinity at Tallahassee, where Memorial Day savings start now and run through month end. So listen up. Before you buy an Acura RDX or Lexus NX, you need to look at the 2019 Infinity QX50 with 1.9% interest for 72 months and $1,750 cash rebate. You get both. Or lease the QX50 for only $395 per month with just $29.50 due at signing. At Kraft Infinity, our third row 7-passenger 2019 QX60 started at an unbelievable $39.5. Our flagship Q70 full-size sedans are all $10,000 off MSRP, and all 2019 QX80s have 0% interest for 72 months. That's free money for 6 years. Plus, at Infinity Tallahassee, all new Infinities and most pre-owns come with our exclusive and free lifetime warranty, good for unlimited time and unlimited miles. And through month end, all trade-ins are an additional $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book. Infinity at Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill. Interest rates and payments with approved credit.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Shot side, rebound, score! The playoffs are here. The Corner Pocket is your home all spring long for all the heart-pounding moments in the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. It's held in a shot, safe, rebound! The Corner Pocket on Appalachia Parkway next to Earth Fair is your headquarters for FSU and Major League Baseball. Trivia Tuesdays, beer bingo Thursdays, and of course, all the moments you'll never forget. For the championship! The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Hendrick. It's the Hendrick Memorial Day sales event all month long at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Save big on over 200 new Buick and GMC cars, trucks, and SUVs. We are professional grade. Dale Jr. Buick GMC.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Surprise, surprise, the NFL has taken a step back and thought, maybe the idea of challenging pass interference, reviewing pass interference, is going to cause even further delays in our football games, especially since once you decided that that's a thing you can challenge, there will be needless challenges from obvious calls, but you still have to take the time to review them. We watch needless challenges for the simplest of things over a yard in a football game. It drives me nuts when coaches do that.
I feel like Ron Rivera is the worst at it.
You think so?
Yes.
He might be. Yeah, you're right. Some coaches have a grand reputation of challenging for all the wrong reasons. This is to gain a foot, Ron. It's 3rd and a half yard instead of 3rd and a yard. Gotcha. Let's use the challenge. Sure.
Yeah, first quarter, 2nd and 7 because of a catch instead of 2nd and 10. I mean, like, I get it. You want to stay ahead of the chains, but it's the first quarter.
My man.
And even if you get it right, I mean, is it really worth the risk of getting it wrong and now you only have one challenge remaining?
Yeah, I crack up. You got to know when to fight.
Because even though you may be right, officials get the right thing wrong all the time.
Yeah, no. It's when guys challenge for a spot in a tie ball game in the second quarter, that's going to make the difference between 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 6.5. Guys, you got to understand leverage. High leverage situations. You got to understand you're going to need that review. You're going to need that for when they really butcher a play that's going to change the game.
But I feel like I've seen that guy challenge something where it's like he thinks it's a pick and the ball clearly hits the ground. I think I've
Does he
seen
not
that
have
at least
people up in the booth
That's
going,
what I'm
Ron,
saying.
Ron.
That was one of my gripes here this year in Tallahassee. Come on, man. The chain of command. Who is watching these things?
Well, in retrospect, I think that was a problem, right? Walt Bell and Willie clearly were never on the same page. And it goes back to me asking the question of Walt Bell what he does. And he didn't know. And it was before the season began. And it cracked me up. Every time we play that audio, we listen to that long-winded response from Walt, which culminates in him saying he has no idea. And I'm not sure he ever did. I don't know that those two ever really had a clear-cut way of going about the process of calling plays. I think Walt did sometimes here and there. Willie did a lot of times. I don't know. We'll know this year there's one man calling those plays. And that in and of itself, as we kind of deviate from the initial talking point here, but that in and of itself will be much more efficient. It is Kendall, and it is Kendall all day.
It should be. I believe that's probably what the agreement was. But remember, Willie at one point this offseason kind of, he rebuffed. And he said, listen, it's still my offense. It's just he's the one that's running it day to day. I'm going to have input. And so what does that mean? It's a big 3rd down in the second half? Does that mean Willie gets on? You sure? Bobby couldn't help himself? Jimbo couldn't help himself?
No, but Jimbo was the primary play caller and was known for being such, and he was never going to relinquish that anywhere he ever goes. Bobby eventually did, but he had to be told, obviously, and he kept calling a trick play once a game because he loved reverses. But Mark Richt had a meeting, a specific meeting. I remember talking to Mark Richt about this one time, and it fascinated me that he felt so handcuffed and frustrated that he finally went to Bobby Bowden and said, Coach, I love you, and I am so appreciative for this opportunity. And I feel like I'm learning, but I've got the governor on because I get into a rhythm, and I think I've got a flow for what I'm doing, and I'm calling plays to set up other plays. They're going to take place in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter. I'm setting them up now. And every time you radio up and say, I want to run this, we're off the game. We're off the tracks. We're not doing what I wanted to do to set up another play. Will you please either take back control of play calling? You call all the plays. If you want, that's fine. I work for you. Or let me do it and let me be free to do it the way I want to do it. And Bobby acquiesced. You don't go out after a season's worth of failures, miserable failures, and bring in Kendall Briles, whom you learn the offense from to a certain extent, and pay him what Florida State's paying him. And he doesn't agree to that job, I don't think. Because remember...
Yeah, without assurances, yeah.
So to me, I think you have enough evidence that says no way, no how. Kendall Briles is calling plays. I think what basically Willie is saying is I have input on the game plan. And he's absolutely right, and he should. He's the head coach, and he does have a philosophy offensively that has been successful elsewhere. Last year, certainly, it was corrupted, if you will, from day one because we couldn't block anybody. But I don't think you make those moves and fall on the sword and kind of remove pride publicly and bring in the guys you did if you don't expect that they're taking over the offense.
Yeah, this was from his Atlanta booster stop just a little under a month ago. Irish Chaffell's column is where I'm pulling the quote from.
Yeah, he was tired of answering that question.
I don't get the turning the keys over thing. This is our team. We're going to do the things I want done.
Yeah. Yeah, what that is a coach saying, I make the decisions. And a coach does have to make decisions. Late in games, any number of ways that you want to attack a situation, he has to decide how he wants to go about the process there. Do we stay at warp speed or do we slow it down this drive? We got a 2-score lead. That's not up to Kendall Briles. That's up to Willie Taggart. Those kinds of things. And I think that's what he means. That's my belief. Now, somebody might read it differently, but I think that's what he means. And I get that. I think he bristled. In essence, I think he bristled by probably the 50th time he's been asked about turning over the keys. And he's like, look, here's the deal, man. I'm the head coach. Now, it's tough in that situation because it almost looks a little petty. But at the same time, I think I can understand, like, hey, look, I made the changes that I thought were necessary. You are going to give me some credit when we win.
Well, and I don't – honestly, I don't think it's petty because he's answered the question correctly 24 out of 25 times. Yeah. And so you get credit for saying the right thing as much as he does. But if you hit him on a bad day, and he asks the question again, he goes, okay, all right.
Yeah,
you know what?
Look, here's the deal, guys.
Here's the deal. Yeah, it's still my overriding game plan. But still, all that being said, and even though he's doing the right things largely, and there was the one time when he was a little bit more honest about where he stands and where Kendall stands. If Willie has a play sheet in front of his microphone on a 4th and 2 or a big-time 3rd and goal, I mean, that's going to be the question after the game. Who called the play on that 3rd and goal, Coach? Is it Willie talking to Kendall saying this is what we should do, or is it Willie talking to Kendall saying this is what you're calling, specifically this play?
Yeah, look, a head coach at the end of the day, so let's use, golly, we do it on a daily basis because we have to. Let's use Dabo Sweeney, for example. You see Dabo Sweeney over there with the play sheet in his hands. Not always. A lot of times, sometimes he's got his hands on his knees and he's just watching the game. But if certain things aren't going the way he wants them to go, you'll see that play sheet. And I think a lot of times it's because he's listening to what's being called and trying to get a handle on why are we doing what we're doing here? Just get a little feel. And then once he's comforted by what he sees or, understands through the give and take, then he puts the sheet back down. But they pay their assistants big-time money to come in and make sure that those plays are called correctly. And obviously he has nothing to do with the defense, nor would anybody if you had Venables. So there's that. But I think Willie will be that way. You're still going to know when to call. You still have to know when to call timeouts. You have to understand down and distance and time. You got to stay on officials. You got to do a lot of coaching things.
Quality control this year. That's another big one. We talked about special teams and celebrations and putting the T out there, wearing the special T-shirt and all that kind of stuff. But, the quality control coaches need an overhaul this year, too, in productivity. And hopefully Willie's a part of that because that was the maddest he got all year on the field last year.
Livid.
When we'd have 10 guys out there or too many out there, we have to call a timeout on a special teams play. That was when he lost to Jimbo style, and there was maybe 3 or 4 instances, but I think all of them were because we had substitution issues.
Yeah, that's Little League nonsense. Yeah, that's stuff where you have young children who forget to do something because they're 12, and 12-year-olds forget to do things. And,
wouldn't you understand that?
Yeah, and so it happens. That's where you get frustrated. It's like Fisher yelling at Dawsey. This is what happens when we're not organized. I mean, that can never happen at this level, not when you're paid like this, and not when the stakes are high. Pee-wee football, things happen, junior football, whatever. You go out there, you kind of, this little kid forgot to do what John, you're on special teams. Oh, you see that all the time, but can't happen at this level of football. Back to the original point here about the NFL, and this makes me laugh at them too. Talked about ineptitude. The owners left the Arizona Biltmore Hotel in March, so reads an article today by Andrew Beaton in the Wall Street Journal, with a deep sense of accomplishment after the embarrassing officiating debacle, obviously having profound implications on who went to the Super Bowl. That couldn't have been a worse look for the league, right? So they felt like, hey, look, the Saints got screwed, but this will never happen to anybody ever again because we're going to put in place a new rule, a rule change that allows us to go back and take a good look at these plays that are so egregious that if missed, we could right the wrong. League officials have since took the time to meet with teams and consider the implications of the rule that they've passed, and suddenly there are many voicing concerns about their solution and that it may cause yet another new problem. This is what happens with rules changes. See the NCAA in our conversation yesterday about unintended consequences. The NFL's owners met again this week. The replay review will once again be front and center because they're talking about the fact that, these length of game issues are starting to be something that fans are voicing their concern over. The league is obsessed with managing the length of its games. now fears the never-deployed new system could produce a frustratingly large number of inconsequential reviews. That, according to a person familiar with the discussions. So now, without a single game being played under the new review system, the rule could change yet again after they've come to realize their original plan, which was designed to be as unobtrusive as possible, might actually be the opposite. It's not the first time the NFL has enacted a major offseason change only to question it right before it was implemented. Last year's May meeting, owners thought they had finally solved the national anthem controversy by passing a rule that mandated the players stand. Quickly, they realized the new policy only inflamed the situation. The NFL Players Association pushed back vehemently, and the rule was canned. They just said, okay, sorry about that. We won't do that. Any change to the replay system comes with significant ramifications, which is why there has been so much consternation over an issue that may only require a minor tweak. The smallest conversation about replay encompasses polarizing, weighty topics, including the length of games, the history of controversial officiating decisions. It could affect who wins and loses football games more than any other rule, and they know that now, and they want to get it right. Saints fans are nodding their head. Yes, it would be good to get that one right. Well, I'll say this. It's interesting. We go back to that game, and if you remember, Drew Brees is leaking oil. He's got nothing left in that arm. He was on fumes. I was texting you left and right going, oh, my God, he can't make the throws. Like, he's Peyton Manning out there.
Yes, exactly, the sheriff.
He was the sheriff out there. There was nothing left of Drew Brees' arm. And yet they still should have won the game and gone to the Super Bowl. I'm assuming that chip shot field goal would have been made, and they would have won that game and gone to the Super Bowl, and they would have been blown the hell out because he couldn't throw the ball.
So did you say that the owners now are in favor of tabling it, or is it just speculation that they're going to revise the rule? Because it should be noted that when it passed 31-1.
That's correct. It's just that the more they've had time to think about it, the more they've gone back and realized that coaches can't help themselves, that they're going to challenge inconsequential interference plays and call into question plays that normally are run-of-the-mill where everybody goes, it's okay, that's not interference, or that is. They're all going to be challenged, and we already have this problem with so many reviews in the game. We've complained about this for 4 years now, to the point where people who were pro-instant replay, and I was amongst them, I think most fair-minded people were. Fumble, not a fumble, catch, not a catch, inbounds, out of bounds. Those kinds of things should be remedied easily. We wanted that remedied, but that's all we wanted. We didn't need all this. Was that a hold, not a hold? What do we do? I don't need all of this other stuff. We start getting into the minutia here on borderline bang-bang calls or calls that could go either way on any given play. That's true of football in general. It's like being able to review every charge or block in the NBA. You don't want to do that, or college basketball. You don't want to do that. Get yourself in trouble. You'd be there all day long. Every block or charge just about is close. We see
Depends on what you want to emphasize.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Every single time, right. So is there interference every time you have a receiver and a DB down the field jostling for position, hand fighting, going up? How much do you want to go by the letter of the law, the definition of interference, and how much do you want guys to be guys and let them play football?
Well, and how do you define it? Because let's just say you don't want to be ticky-tacky. Well, okay. How do you write that into a rule book? Significant interference?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's significant?
Right.
You got no chance.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Language becomes the barrier here, and interpretation. The NFL looked deeper into the topic. League officials realized the Saints game was far from an isolated incident. Their research found that of all penalties, pass interference calls and non-calls disproportionately affected teams' chances of winning and losing games more than any other call. That's true because it's so penal. So can we just start with get rid of this? It's a 50-yard penalty. Let's not do that. As far as I can throw it, is that penalty? If I've got Aaron Rodgers, conceivably, it's a 70-yard penalty.
Yeah, why not just make it a touchdown at that point?
It's a 15-yard penalty. It's a 15-yard penalty and we'll be done.
Let's move the game along, call it a touchdown. If the guy blows by the other one and he holds on to his jersey as he's falling down.
Touchdown.
That's a clear path.
Yeah. But I wish they would remove how penal that rule is in general. I've always hated that. I don't think it's,
Pros are so smart, though, that they would use it to their advantage more often, would they not? I mean, at what point? Do you get a flagrant, some sort of unsportsmanlike tacked on because there's clearly intent? It's just that the one thing about college, I don't know if the college athlete does it enough, but I think the pros would. They're smart enough. If you get beat, you're just going to tackle a joker, and you'll take the 15 yards, no harm, no foul to you.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, that's all right. It's 15 yards to you, and it's a first down, and that's not a good penalty. I mean, if you get called for unsportsmanlike conduct, that's not a good penalty. In essence, that's what's happening.
I guess. Well, if there was a tack-on element to it, but let's just say that a guy is he's about to break away into the slot, and it's not a true penalty shot coming for hockey. If you trip the guy as a defenseman, your coach will say, "Good play, very smart play in that situation. We can't give up a goal there." So we'll take the 2 minutes. We'll see if we can kill it off. In the situation in the NFL, if you've got Nuke Hopkins and he just made a double move on you like he does, and you're going to fall down and you grab his ankle, well, okay.
Yeah, but in hockey, if there's a clear breakaway, then they get a penalty shot. They actually, yeah. So same thing could be had here if you want. I don't know what you would do there if they go back and review and say he was clearly by him. Maybe they make that a 30-yard penalty. I don't know, but I just think you got to. You don't need 50 and 60-yard penalties, and we see them all the time. Guys throw it up, and it's short, like you talk about, and they come back to the ball. And
in that type of situation, it's different than what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning a receiver leaving somebody in the dust, and he's not allowed to do so because the defender is making what is now a smart play.
You're picturing our boy getting abused. For
a little bit.
Still one of my...
But if it's a jump ball over the middle of the field, you got a safety and a corner bracketing a receiver. That one I have a much harder time with assessing and giving it a spot foul. I mean, Jesus, what are we doing? It's a jump ball at that point. You're playing 500.
The league has long dreaded addressing the issue of reviews with pass interference. Even an innocuous change would be radical. Penalties like pass interference have never been reviewable. Altering that, they know, could open a new frontier of issues. They hash through numerous potential ideas. At one point, coaches have pushed for having a referee in the booth with the power to call or overturn penalties. Another idea involving giving coaches an extra challenge to specifically use on plays like pass interference or hitting a defenseless player. Ultimately, they settled on a proposal that they thought would fit neatly. Replay review would remain as is. Pass interference would simply be added to the catalog of reviewable calls. Coaches would be able to challenge pass interference. And in the final 2 minutes of each half, when reviews come from replay officials, pass interference is included on that list. The latter part of the focal point concerns after members of the officiating department conducted meetings with teams to go over new rules and points of emphasis for the upcoming season. They realized there was a potential for too many reviews in the final 2 minutes of each half. Sure, it's like the end of a basketball game my wife can't watch.
I think if I was the NFL, I'd offer Bill Belichick $50 million to
solve the problem,
to sit in a booth, and no longer are you a coach, sir. You sit in the booth and you monitor all games and you make the rulings, because he has the clout for people to say, "Well, Belichick said it was this, so that's what it is."
So this is where they got.
That's pass interference. We're going to move it to the 36, first down.
Would you like me to clearly define the rule? I can, off the top of my head. I always have been able to. Really quickly, I think this gets back to a really rudimentary answer, and I've said this as my frustrations have mounted with the replay system in the NFL and the way it ruins the flow of a football game and any rhythm, and really causes a lack of suspense, I think, because you feel almost helpless about what you're watching. You're just sort of, well, okay, I mean, it's 3rd and 7. I'd like to believe we're going to make this play, but there'll be some review. There's going to be something that somebody did, because they're able to review so many things now. But plays that typically demand a booth review, like whether a player was out of bounds or inbounds, tend to be obvious. Meanwhile, there's a borderline pass interference play on each passing play. They imagine the potential for a hellacious scenario in which every one of those borderline calls would cause a stoppage in play to look. In the last 2 minutes, that's exactly right.
Brother man, inside the last 2 minutes, and you've got 1st and goal, and you throw 3 jump balls to Mike Evans, and 3 are incomplete, guess what's going to happen?
Review on every one of them.
Every single one of them, because every jump ball has some sort of interference, be it offensive or defensive. It's just true.
Yeah, so Rich McKay, the chair of the competition committee, said after the NFL's annual meeting, there's a broad willingness to expand replay. But he also said at that time and warned how many people were listening that it was fraught with danger. And, I don't think they can do it. you're trying to eliminate the egregious no call, the egregious miss, and we had perhaps the most egregious no call in the history of the NFL. Can you put in a provision for the absurdly egregious?
Yeah, the word really, blatant, I think I would use. Blatant and obvious.
Yeah, it has to be...
Not significant, blatant and obvious.
So over the top that it would be universally agreed upon. The team who was affected negatively would also agree that that was a penalty. So, like, even the Rams would go, well, that was a penalty.
Yeah, it's where the coaches are going, ball bleep, as the replays run, they go, ball.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
All right, guys, defense. Let's go. Goal line.
See if we can get a stop. What? Yeah, you want something like that where you're like, oh, yeah, you can't do that. It's like your boy for the Chiefs being offsides by 15 yards. And I was so sure that was the interception to seal the deal. I'm like, no, there's no way. That's nonsense. You are practically standing on Tom Brady's feet as the ball is snapped, you ass. I mean, that was nuts. I'm still mad about that.
Imagine they missed that call.
Oh.
Couldn't review it.
I wish they had. But, man, I remember because I was down in Bradenton. I was watching with my kids and my mom, and we were all on the edge of our seat. We saw the pick. We were like, look at that. The Wicked Witch is dead. Screw you, New England. And then I was like, oh, there's a flag. What is this nonsense? And I thought for sure, you get into conspiracy theory stuff. I'm like, this is going to be some ticky-tack nonsense.
Yeah. It's Roger Goodell in a referee's uniform.
No.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact.
I really thought it was going to be something that would infuriate me. And then they show that replay, and I'm like,
do you forgive me, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away. First of all, he lined up a full, 4 yards offsides, and he jumped.
That was the second most exciting thing that happened to Robert Kraft that day.
Oh, boy. Lest we forget, thank God they blocked that video. It has been temporarily blocked, and it needs to stay that way. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Loves the corner pocket.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events, and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock. Not only does this taste well, if you're at Bumpa's Local 349, first of all, just saying the word lavash is awesome. It also tastes great because what it is it's topped with olive oil and garlic and Havarti cheese and Parmesan, and it's just damn delicious. But more than anything else, I'm glad it's good, because if it wasn't, I'd be so sad, because I'd want to say lavash. When they come over and they say, what do you want? I go, lavash. listen, the menu's got burgers, it's got wings, it's got salads, it's got pastas, it's got ribs, it's got all the good stuff. It's got a bologna sandwich. It's got a bologna sandwich.
The penne alla vodka. This is interesting.
That's
now.
damn tasty.
It is damn tasty. It's not something that I see. I'm picky when I eat.
You are.
My pop is a huge fan of penne alla vodka, and he says you got to have it done just
perfect.
right.
Theirs is perfect.
The reputation for that has made it into 3 different conversations I've been involved in over the last 2 months in Tallahassee. It's ridiculous.
Bump us local 349. Good food, good people. Go see them. They're on Capitol Circle. Good stuff.
Are you looking for a trucking company you can work with till retirement? Do you want to feel like you're part of a family instead of just a truck number? If so, join the Early Trucking family that's been trucking for 25 years. ETC offers a benefit package that's second to none, including a 401k, paid vacations, sick leave, health insurance, Aflac group rates, and long-term care with only 2 health questions and a $1,000 signing bonus. They have regional dry van, hopper, and tanker lines available, home every weekend or more. Go to earlytruckingcompany.com to fill out an application. Help ETC keep agriculture in motion.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee at Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Hendrick. It's the Hendrick Memorial Day sales event all month long at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Celebrate with savings like the 2019 GMC Acadia 3-row SUV up to $10,000 off MSRP, or the stylish 2019 GMC Terrain up to $8,000 off. We are professional grade. See us on Capitol Circle Northeast under the giant American flag, or visit DaleJuniorGMC.com. Not all vehicles will qualify for maximum discount. Must finance with GM Financial plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and dealer admin charge. See dealer for details.
In 2019, our Atlanta Braves are looking to defend their National League East title, and we'll bring you every play from this epic season.
High fly to right field. That one's got a chance. That one is gone. It's a chop shot.
Atlanta Braves baseball on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Fonville, Lewis, Messer & McConaughey, Bagel Market Bistro, and by Early Trucking Company in Arlington, Georgia. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
What's happening? I got in the car this morning. Golick and Wingo was on, and I'm driving around, and it's just kind of on in the background, and I hear Tree Wingo go, "Oh, it's a real shame what happened to Reuben Foster yesterday." Get the hell out of here, Trey. Are you kidding me? That guy's a piece of crap. Yeah, it's a tragedy. And he'll have to limp around the next time he's beating the bejesus out of his wife. Get the hell out of here with that. He was like about to cry. Oh, Reuben Foster's knee injuries. What a shame. I would have introduced the segment as good news. Reuben Foster blew out his knee yesterday. Just saying.
That's probably why you're not in Bristol. That's not probably...
You don't think that's...
Not something they encourage up there, be my guess.
It's the best, though. I mean, I thought he was going to choke up. Reuben Foster. Okay. I wonder if they with the break, they were like, he's been accused like 16 times.
I know this didn't happen, but I'd love it if they went to break the hard network out or whatever, and he goes, you know what? It's actually incredible news. I hate my life. I hate my job that I have to say stuff like that. I wish I could say what I really felt, because I, Trey Wingo, am a dark person.
Well, you could have, one thing to say, if we're being completely fair here, the NFL notified Reuben Foster that he was going to be fined 2 game checks after they reviewed the recent incidents and had an assessment and adherence to obligations arising from previous violation of league policies, repeated violations. They followed the evidence and said, well, you weren't completely across the line as you were in those other incidents, so this is just 2 game checks. Like, we think you, from what we could tell in that Tampa hotel room, you shoved her with your forearm, not with your open hand to the face. So you just get 2 games. But what a tragedy about the knee.
Standing there.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Games for less.
And we're back with another edition of Spring Cleaning. Today, we want to know how you save energy, water, and money during a warmer season. Caller, you're on the air. What do you do to save energy?
With the warmer temperature, I know my AC is working overtime, so I make sure to replace my AC filter once a month.
Excellent suggestion. Next caller, you're on the air.
Well, the city of Tallahassee recommends that I take advantage of their grants and loans to get more insulation in my attic. That's really going to keep my cooling costs down.
These are some great suggestions. There are lots of ways to save. Caller, you're on the air.
I reduce energy for water heating by lowering my water heater temperature and installing low-flow shower heads.
We have time for one more caller. What do you have for us?
I make sure to use my programmable thermostat to regulate the temperature in my home when I'm away.
Thank you, caller. That's all the time we have today.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities would like to help you save as much energy as you can and save money while you're at it. Visit talgov.com for more information and start saving energy today.
We're back with a state champion. That's right, a state champion head coach. His name is Titus Nixon. He is the basketball coach at St. John Paul II Catholic High School. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great, Tom.
So I've got 2 questions, and the first one I'm going to ask you about is the state championship. What made this year, this team so special?
If I had to use one word, I would say resiliency. We preached that word from the first day of practice, that no matter what happens, we as a group need to stick together and we need to form a brotherhood that is so tight that nothing can break us. And our group was talented, but I think what made them so special is that they were resilient when things got hard. Instead of severing and breaking apart, they instead came together even stronger, and then also selfless. That this group put the team above themselves in a way that I have hardly ever seen in sports, whether it be on the high school, college, or pro level. And I think that's what made this year's 2019 state champions at JP2 so special.
It sounds like even though you built a culture, a championship culture at that, at JP2, it doesn't just come from the basketball program itself.
JP2 is a wonderful family environment. It is a school that prides itself in helping students develop and form in mind, body, and spirit. It truly is a family atmosphere.
For more information about athletics, academics, student life, visit sjpiichs.org for St. John Paul II Catholic High School.
Hardee's used to think bowls were useless dishware. Then we created the new Loaded Hash Round Bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a 2-year extension for Patriots receiver Julian Edelman, one of quarterback Tom Brady's favorite targets. Edelman, the MVP of Super Bowl 53, agreed with the team on a 2-year extension, $19 million in new money, $12 million guaranteed, an $8 million signing bonus as well. Redskins safety Landon Collins doesn't have a whole lot of love for his former team, the Giants. He told ESPN he thinks his exit from New York was due to the team's culture change and sending players who were too vocal and had expansive non-football platforms packing. Collins said he was most surprised by the trades of star receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and defensive lineman Damon Harrison. Collins also said there was a stunning lack of communication by Giants GM Dave Gettleman. Tonight, it's time for Game 4 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals with the Bucks visiting the Raptors. Besides a spot in the NBA Finals, there's plenty at stake for both teams in the series, points out ESPN NBA writer Kevin Arnovitz.
The Milwaukee Bucks, for them, they hope this is the first in a long sequence of appearances. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a generational talent. He's 24 years old. They're going to be back here in late May many times in the future. At least that's the hope. The Raptors have a lot riding on this series. They have Kawhi Leonard with no guarantee he stays beyond this summer.
Milwaukee leads the series 2-1. Game 4 coverage 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. NHL's Western Conference Final. Injured Sharks defenseman Erik Karlsson and center Tomas Hertl are both out of tonight's Game 6 against the Blues. Center Joe Pavelski game time decision. San Jose is down 3-2. WNBA, Seattle guard Sue Bird will undergo arthroscopic surgery on her left knee. She's out indefinitely. The Storm begins the defense of its 2018 title on Saturday.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's time. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Go there, listen in via the streaming. If you miss portions of the program, just remember all 3 hours get posted upon the conclusion of the show on iTunes, as well as in our own audio vault on the webpage. Email us if you want. It's jcs@979 ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Hello, YouTubers and Periscopers. Good to be with you. Oh, by the way, we will, right off the bat, Tom, if you want to hit it, I'll go ahead and give the update, or you can give the update. Here is the cue. Ooh, it's update time for that ass. I went, ooh, it's frozen.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Do it again for good measure. It's update time for that ass. Thank you. All right, so update time for that ass sees the Noles trailing.
We have different, sorry, go ahead.
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. Unfortunately for the Noles.
Pick up the baseball.
Yeah, it looked like that the official score may have ruled it a wild pitch, but the first base runner for Wake that got aboard in the second inning did so thanks to a strikeout that should have been a pass ball. I mean, it went right between the legs.
Right through the wickets there,
Matthew
my
Nelson.
man. You got to make that play.
And then from there, it's a chopper to first, runner to second, 2 out, walk, and then the only hard hit ball of the inning, which is a shot to right center that JC tries to run down, dives for, lands violently onto the ground. Ball bounces around. Yes,
is okay.
Bases clearing, triple if you want to call it that, with 2 runners on, followed by a Baltimore chop up the middle. So Drew Parrish gives up 1 hard hit ball over his first 2 innings, 3-0 Wake.
Has had that happen a lot this year. And Eric Llewellyn did a good job of documenting that on Front Row Knowles one night and saying that, look, he hasn't been great. Nobody's going to sit here and tell you that he's been as good as we thought he'd be coming into the season, but he's also not been nearly as bad as the ERA and some of the numbers suggest. He seemingly had that 1 hard hit ball cost him dearly. Whatever is hit hard is never at somebody. In really big situations.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about batting average of balls put in play, he's been snake bit in critical moments. And first and second, 2 outs, line shot, it's in the alley, not at the center fielder. It's happened numerous times.
And JC has a bit of a history making some big plays in the ACC tournament, and he tried to make another one, and it was close. But you could tell from his body language as he was hauling back to the fence that this was going to be a tough play. And once he whiffed, and he goes to the ground, you know that both runners are going to score in that situation.
We'll give you another update in all likelihood this hour. If not, then, you'll find it. It's still being played. It was pushed back and delayed because of the Boston College-Clemson game going to extra innings. Boston College with the upset over Clemson there. Clemson, who finds themselves in a similar position to Florida State, only worse off, having been on the wrong end of a thorough beatdown in the weekend in Tallahassee for those 3 games. Probably, some people feel like needed to get a win and came into this game. They'll get another opportunity, but came into this game against Boston College looking to get a win and get right, and they lose that game in extra innings. And because of it, now some people raise an eyebrow about their chances of making it into the NCAA postseason play with regional play. And I will say this, the announcers during this game noted something I've said all along, that if we just gave the committee a reason to put Florida State in, they were going to get in Mike Martin's last year, and he was of the same mindset that Florida State would get in. I think no matter what happens here today, now you'd certainly like to come back and win this game. Wake has scored a lot of runs this year. They've also given up a lot of runs this year, so plenty of opportunities for Florida State to try to get back in this thing. But if you get a win, just like you did on the road with the 1 win against Louisville, incrementally, you're kind of etching your way into that postseason. It's update time for that ass. Boom!
It is now 4-0 Wake Forest.
Damn
4-0. They've got runners on second and third with 1 out. So while Parrish may not have deserved his fate in the second inning, I can't speak to exactly what happened in the third, but we're in trouble.
All right, so there's that, 4-0 Wake Forest. That's bad news for Florida State, but nothing akin to the news that Florida A&M received today. If you missed it earlier today, we had Rory Schrock on the program, host of Rattler Review here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, and also covers Florida A&M as well as TCC for the Tallahassee Democrat. Does real good work. Joined us on the program to talk about what happened today at FAMU, which is really a tough pill to swallow. As you well know, Florida A&M on the football field was 1 win away from claiming the MEAC title and heading to the Celebration Bowl. It didn't happen, of course, so that was a bit disappointing, but not nearly as disappointing as reading about and hearing about today. Self-imposed penalties, including a postseason ban for football, baseball, men's basketball, men's track and field, women's basketball, and volleyball for the upcoming 2019-2020 academic year due to infractions for allowing ineligible athletes to compete. Now, these infractions did not involve any of the current coaches of those sports. They did not involve the current administration. Unfortunately, these will be the athletes and coaches, though, that suffer from the misdeeds of those that came before. The violations occurred dating back as far as 2010, 2011, through 2016, in which FAMU was alleged to have certified student athletes amateurism status, and allowed another student to compete after they had exhausted all seasons of competition. You had violations involving credit hours and eligibility violations. 93 student athletes, let's just summarize it this way. 93 student athletes on 162 occurrences in 12 different sports were improperly certified according to the NCAA committee. And that is what they had to own today. And FAMU President Larry Robinson, Dr. Robinson doing so, noted, while we cannot change the circumstances of the past, we have accepted full responsibility for those infractions and are committed to running an athletic program that is in full compliance with NCAA rules and regulations. And went as far as to say that not only are they going to do that, but will meet and exceed the NCAA's expectations to ensure that FAMU athletics remain in compliance. Unfortunately, it really does put a damper on real forward momentum. The basketball program was having a very good year. The football program had a very good year, as I just mentioned a moment ago, 1 game away from winning the MEAC in Coach Willie Simmons' first season. You never want to hear about guys who weren't guilty of an infraction like this having to suffer the consequences. But in college athletics, that is the way it works, always. So the student athletes now suffer the punishment for problems of the past. And that includes 5 years of probation, A self-imposed 2019-2020 postseason ban for football, baseball, men's basketball, men's track and field, women's basketball, volleyball, a vacation of records. And, of course, that always is on the table for the NCAA. I roll my eyes at that, whatever. But here are the biggies, and this is a real problem moving forward if you're going to try to continue to have momentum. A reduction in scholarships by 10% for 2019-2020. Baseball, men's basketball, men's track and field, women's basketball, volleyball. A reduction in scholarships by 10% for the football program to boot for 2019 and 2020. A $5,000 fine plus 3% of the total athletics budget is what FAMU is hit with here. And when you lack resources and you don't have nearly the same kind of money that the big schools have, when you get hit with a fine and or a 3% fine plus the for the athletics budget, you're talking about a real problem. So good luck to FAMU, but today they had to pay the piper and the announcements were made.
Well, the biggest part for the football program would be the scholarship loss, and it's a 10% scholarship reduction for 2 full seasons. It's not just the upcoming one, it's the one after that as well. And so that's really hard when you're trying to fortify depth and culture and bringing kids in.
Well, and sustain momentum on the recruiting trail. You go, you're coming off a season like that. Willie Simmons had people really excited about FAMU football again, and for good reason. First of all, I thought it was a good hire, and we had Coach Simmons on when he was hired, and his commitment to the school and his enthusiasm for the job was infectious. And then they go out and have the season that they did, where all of a sudden they're winning football games again. And for so many years, that's just what you associated FAMU athletics with, was winning. I mean, as a football program in HBCU, they were dominant. And then they weren't, and they haven't been for a long time. And so you yearn for those years to come back, and now here they are, a winning season, that close to winning the MEAC, came up just short. Unfinished business, obviously, as you go into the offseason. Hit the road recruiting. You assume a season like that translates into an even better class, right? And now you got to, walk through those doors and try to get a commit to commit. Obviously, he might want to the culture. He might believe in Willie Simmons, but then has to turn right around and really kind of weigh his options and realize that for 2 years, he's not playing postseason football.
Well, for 2 years, that's the scholarship thing. I think the postseason ban is just the one year. So to me, it's a blip on the radar in that regard, but the scholarship loss is the bad part, because you're trying to turn over the roster still.
Sure.
I mean, he's only beginning the project here. This is only the beginning of what he wanted to do. But I think in terms of the schedule and the wins and the losses, listen, if you win the MEAC, you go play in the Celebration Bowl. And that's something that they were so close to doing. That kid's offsides last year. I'm never, ever going to let that go.
Forever and more. But they lost the last 3 games. It wasn't just that game.
But exactly right. They had plenty of opportunities. But that one was just, it comes down to the bitter end. It looks like they might have a storybook finish to win the Florida Classic, and then in so doing go to the Celebration Bowl, but also to get off the schneid with Bethune.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, though. It's all in how you look at it. Just from the season standpoint, it may not be recognized as a MEAC title. But if you play well this year and you beat Bethune in the Florida Classic, yes, you don't get to go to Atlanta to play in the Celebration Bowl, which stinks. And, of course, I know that would create revenue streams and buzz around the program.
It's a big deal, yeah.
But beating Bethune's a big damn deal. And if you handle your business for a second straight year, from Willie's perspective, he can sell that as, hey, man,
you can survive
2 years, look at this market improvement. Because let's just say this year they finish in second again in the MEAC. Well, they're not going to the Celebration Bowl anyway. So to me, I think the postseason ban might be a bigger deal for some of the other sports, whereas for this group, the football team, if you go win the Classic, then you've had yourself a hell of a year, and they can't take that away from you.
And certainly the coaches that are there now that are responsible for the turnaround on the baseball diamond or on the football field knew that there was a chance this was coming. Certainly this isn't a new investigation. This has been going on. Really, it's the culmination of a long investigation. They knew there was a price to be paid. The new administration, the athletic department, Dr. Eason, they all knew that this was something that was forthcoming, and even though they have to suffer the consequences for things they didn't do, that was going to be part of taking that job and really help guiding FAMU back to a place they can be proud of athletically. But you were going to endure this. To what extent they didn't know, now they know.
I'll tell you what, if it's for the budget for the upcoming 2019-2020 year that you got to take 3% off, if I have dual purpose stuff, I'm moving it to the other side of the dual purpose equation. I'm taking as many things off that ledger as I possibly can, because every dollar and cent matters greatly. And it's the scholarship losses, and it's that $5,000 fine plus 3% of the athletics budget that's the real killer there.
Before we get an update really quick, I'll do this. I'll move on from that story. By the way, follow Rory Schrock for more on that. And again, if you missed it, I had a thorough interview with him in hour number 1. You can go back and find that in the podcast after the show concludes. We'll post it to iTunes as well. Speaking of revenue, remember yesterday on the show we were talking about how much money the Big Ten had laying around? After those tax returns came in, the Big Ten recorded nearly $759 million in revenue during the 2018 fiscal year, a record figure that far outpaces all the other conference yearly earnings. And we talked about how they had an increase of over $200 million. Well, today the Pac-12 revenue announcing that it fell by $12 million in 2018. To $497 million because the conference could not make up for the Rose Bowl revenue from when the game hosted a college football playoff semifinal after the 2017 season. So it's a little skewed.
Yeah, we're
here.
trailing by a couple years typically with these things.
Yeah. Payouts to Pac-12 member schools rose 5%, though, to $31 million each as conference distributions included money that was held back from Rose Bowl payments in the 2 previous years. So it's a big total, and it raises an eyebrow at first. But then you see that the revenue dropped from $36 million in each of the seasons during which the conference champion participated in a game to about $14 million when it hosted the college football playoff. So that's a big loss there. But anyhow, that money is skewed because of the holdout for the last 2 years. So you see that number going, well, what are they doing? They don't even have a damn network that people pay attention to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, every league has a different number of teams, or at least most do. The Big 12 obviously is much smaller than, say, the SEC. But to hear that the Pac-12 or whatever, they clear $30 million. That's just, to me, that's a little jarring. I get it. They moved some money around. It looked like they were preparing for the winter when it comes to recovering Rose Bowl revenue. Mm-hmm. But to hear that those schools, which that conference is in big trouble in general, still generate over $30 million a squad.
But not normally. Not normally. Again, that was that held back. They were getting money that had been held back from Rose Bowl payments in the 2 previous years. So there's a big chunk of that came from that money that was held back. That's not what they would be making moving forward. I think they are in some trouble still. I don't think that I don't think that there's a relief from that. Now, they held these meetings just the way we hold ACC meetings over there in Amelia Island, and the university presidents approved 3 measures. They standardized non-conference schedules in basketball to avoid weaker opponents. They eliminated the year of lost eligibility for athletes who transfer within the conference, and they extended by 5 years the the annual funding to the conference's student-athlete health and well-being initiative. Anyhow, the scheduling change comes after a couple of poor seasons by the Pac-12, both in football and basketball. The conference has placed only 3 teams in the NCAA tournament in basketball in each of the last 2 years. That's the fewest amongst all Power 5 teams. I'd forgotten that they not only sucked in football, but also basketball.
Oh, everything. No, the number one thing I hope for, which will never happen, is when it's time to renegotiate this thing, and let's say that we've gotten ourselves on footing. I don't even care if it's good footing, but the football program is on some kind of footing.
Tom, the ACC network is going to aid the conference as a whole, and of course, we're getting it all turned around on the football field with Kendall Browse this year, buddy. So just good times, lay in wait.
So if we're on footing, then we should negotiate a deal where if we get an Orange Bowl payout or bowl payouts, that
Wake
it's not
$50
equally
bucks.
Right.
$50, Wake. That's what you BC $50.
Your enrollment is 10% of ours.
We'll take you out to dinner.
Why don't you do the payouts based on enrollment percentages? Let's do it that way. You want to expand? Let's expand. Go for it. Because then if your enrollment gets bigger as Wake Forest, you got more alumni 20, 30 years from now. Maybe more people watch the ACC network in that part of the country for more than just the ACC basketball tournament.
I know you fret, sir, but I tell you, the good times, they're here.
I can't stand this conference.
They're here. They're upon us. You wear that ACC cap with pride, sir. It's update time for that ass. And that update is?
Parrish got out of that jam.
Boom.
So the damage, it's there, but it's limited. He's got 7 Ks through 3 innings. Whoop-de-doo, because we're down 4-0.
Whoop-de-doo.
But they had 2nd and 3rd with 1 out after being up 4-0, and he did limit the damage to just 4. So if we swing the bats against Wake like we did the weekend that they were here in Tallahassee, this game is far from over, but there's a lot of work to do.
4-0 in the
bottom of the 3rd.
There it is. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
New line of FSU baseball jerseys, tees, and ball caps. Garnet and gold with 3 locations: West Pensacola Street, Collard, and Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
Pros know getting it done right means getting more bang for your buck, because putting more toward your bottom line is good for business. Lowe's is here to help with savings during our Memorial Day sale. Like $60 off a DeWalt 20-volt max cordless drill, now just $99. And get $15 off gallon cans and $45 off 5-gallon pails via Lowe's gift card rebate when you buy interior and exterior paint and stain. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 5/29. See store for details, U.S. only.
Hendrick.
New way to buy, new roads to drive. The all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet has reinvented the car buying experience. So find new roads and your new Chevrolet today, or shop DaleJuniorChevy.com.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split 1 Aurora wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar congratulates the softball team on making the Super Regionals. Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar. New location, 926 North Monroe. Good luck in the Super Regionals from Cigars of Tally.
Hendrick.
New way to buy, new roads to drive. That's what you'll find in the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet, a proud member of the Hendrick Automotive Group. We've completely reinvented the car buying experience, making trusted, honest service our top priority and putting you first. We're ready to prove it to you. So come check out our fantastic selection today. Find new roads and your new Chevrolet right here on Tennessee Street or shop online at DaleJuniorChevy.com.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So the Bucs made the move that everybody was expecting them to make for the last few months, which is to tell Gerald McCoy, your time at Tampa is up. Have a good day. No $13 million for you. That was never going to be his money, and so they've cut him, and now he'll have an opportunity to go sign with somebody else. And obviously, if you're him, you want to sign with a winning team. You're in the last years of your career. You got to have an opportunity to, at some point, he's 31 years old, past his prime, and was a real good player in his prime. But that's the end of that. And so the salary cap situation improves for Tampa Bay. But, that's not the story. What I thought about was his time there in Tampa Bay. And the worst number that really stands out to me is the 123 games that he played for the Bucs in his career. It's a lot of games. It's a long time to be with an organization and never once taste the playoffs. It's just a sad reminder of just how sorry ass that organization has been that we root for, Tom. 123 games without ever reaching the postseason. No one in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history has ever played as many games for the Bucs without reaching the postseason. And I remember back in the day, I was so sad for Paul Gruber. Paul Gruber, a great Tampa Bay Buccaneer, one of the best offensive linemen in the league at that time forever, largely overlooked on a team that lost incessantly. But at the tail end of his career, he was on 2 playoff teams with Tony Dungy. So he went out having tasted the postseason, having really been the anchor for those teams over the years, the one guy that Bucs fans could point to and say, well, we got Paul Gruber, And I bring up the story all the time that Leroy Selman was the first Buccaneer, and I'm old enough to remember it, plus he was a Sooner. So he was the first Tampa Bay Buccaneer that as a little kid, when I would go into Tampa Stadium, the old big sombrero, and go to games there and watch us get our head kicked in, that he was the first player we ever had where when I sat in the stands and I thought, well, at least we have the best player on the field. I could take pride that there was a guy playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in the creamsicle, that no matter who we were playing, I could 99% of the time say, we've got the best player on the field right now. We're not going to win the game because the rest of those guys aren't any good, but he is most assuredly the best player on the field, and he would dominate his matchup, always having to double team him and all. And you just took pride because you had so little to hang your hat on as a Bucs fan. You didn't have anything. In the beginning, all you had was, well, I'm a Bucs fan, and Tampa's my city, so go Bucs. But then when he came around, you had him. And if you went out of town, people would be like, oh, the poor Bucs. Like, we got Leroy Selman. Well, you do. He is a badass, because he was always make the highlight reel. He would always do something special. And then it was like Paul Gruber. There have been a few others in between, obviously. Gerald McCoy didn't quite reach that level, but he was a really good player. But he falls under the same category of guys that just, man, they play their heart out. They played through injury. They represented the city well. They did represent the franchise well in a league where you're forever reading about Ezekiel Elliott or whomever else is the best player on a given team having problems at all times. You're grateful when you got a guy that is a good player who's not an ass. You can disagree with some of his stances at times or be frustrated by a comment or two, but there's no arguing that Gerald McCoy was a fine representative of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a real good player for quite a long time. And he had nothing to show for it at the end of his time in Tampa because he was mired in a period of time in which the Bucs are so poorly run that annually there was very little hope.
Yeah, being a Bucs fan and a Mets fan is quite the 1-2 combination. But at least the Mets get to the postseason every once in a while.
Yeah,
whereas
you were
the
just
Bucs,
in the World Series not that long ago.
Right, exactly. In spite of ourselves, but that's okay. I don't really care what the ownership group looks like if it's October and we're on TBS or we're on Fox playing the big games. But for Gerald was a hit. I mean, he's a draft hit. He was not a bust by any stretch of the imagination.
No, big time.
And there was an argument about obviously Ndamukong Suh and Gerald McCoy, and we were hoping that the Lions would be dumb enough not to take Ndamukong Suh that night at the draft 10 years ago. That was the first draft party I ever went to with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Gerald actually started the tradition, I think, of hugging the commissioner when he got selected.
That was a great hug. He was in tears. It was awesome.
And that's who he was. He was an emotional player. I think sometimes he talked a bigger game than he could deliver on. And I think sometimes he was too proud of his accomplishments, where you're in an organization where Warren Sapp once played. And unfortunately, it seems as good as a person as Gerald McCoy is.
Sapp wasn't.
And Sapp wasn't.
But he was a player.
Gerald couldn't hold a candle to what Warren was. He wasn't a franchise changer. He was not a franchise changer, but he was a hit of a draft pick and a really good player.
And a Pro Bowler.
I think that he got burnt out towards the end. And who could blame him? You see all these yokels come in. It's like a friggin' revolving door of yokels. And you still have to deal with the ownership group who were always that way. Especially when Dad died and lost his faculties. They really didn't have much left in terms of football smarts, or at least business smarts. It's just a really tough career. I don't know how he feels about it. I'm sure he'll always say the right things, but I wonder if he laments the fact that he had to languish with the Buccaneers franchise while he would have a career that more people would talk about a lot quicker if he was on a Green Bay or a Chicago or a New England or somewhere else.
It's a reminder to me, and this is true, most of the time we bring it up when we're trying to gauge where you rank in the league as a quarterback. We spend a lot of time assessing people's career based on, a lot of times that debate begins and ends with quarterbacks. We do this all the time. Who's the greatest of all time and all these other things. We do it sometimes with receivers and running backs. We don't do it a lot with offensive and defensive linemen. But one thing's applicable to all these players, and that is where you go really matters. Who you get drafted by affects all of it. And at the end of the day, they couldn't have maybe known it at the time. Maybe he wouldn't have known it, but would Tom Brady have been a good quarterback? I think so. I think there's ample evidence that he was willing to sacrifice and prepare long hours and do everything he could to get the most out of his talents. But would he be the greatest of all time if he hadn't come around when he did as a backup to Drew Bledsoe and the New England Patriots and get the opportunity due to injury to get in there at the time that Bill Belichick was mastering his craft and all these things? Probably not. If he goes to Cincinnati, are we talking about Tom Brady that way? Not likely. There are very few players that are so good that by themselves in the ultimate team game, they could go to a place and change the fortunes of a franchise. Football is not that game. Football is the ultimate team game. And so you can be an elite, dominant player at your position, but if the rest of those positions aren't very good and your team doesn't get postseason opportunities and you can't shine in those postseason opportunities because you're not there, you're basically largely, and I would think you're right, he would lament, going about your craft in silence and in anonymity.
Well, I think he was a pretty good player who flashed brilliance at times, but he was consistently a pretty good player. I don't know that he was, like you talk about best player on the field, I don't know that he was in that conversation.
He was never the best player
often
on the field. No, I don't
but
think.
I think the hard part also is our secondaries were such trash over those years that, really, how many chances do you get to dominate a game if a quarterback can drop back and complete 70 to 80% of his passes on average for a yards per attempt average around 7.5 to 8 yards a play?
The entire time he played in Tampa Bay, we didn't have a rush end. We have yet to have one in his career. An elite one. You didn't see it. Simeon Rice was well noted as the last really elite rush end Tampa Bay's ever had. It's maddening. We've had guys that gave us good years. JPP last year gave us a good year. Looks like that's the end of it.
Okay, and the signing of Ndamukong? I just don't understand. I thought we're trying to change the culture around here. He seems to be in the same mold as a Swaggy Baker or a Deshaun Jackson. So if we start 2-3, is he really going to be a
citizen?
The
answer is no. He's not going to be a guy that drives the defense, leads by example, works harder than everybody else. No.
Well, the thing is, you don't think you're going to fail. Obviously the organization, when they brought in the two guys from Washington, didn't think that we were going to fail that first year. We could be front runners with those personalities, and maybe they could propel you over the top because they're interested to do so. But,
the Bucs are closer than people realize. It's very interesting. The perception in Tampa and the way the media is covering this team currently, there's a daily article about the Bucs being a disaster. And I get it. Let them keep writing those articles. Let John Romano and the rest of them write those articles. I'm fine with that. And I understand the frustration. I get the fan base's consternation. I get all of it. I actually think the Bucs were really victimized by terrible injury luck a year ago. it had a huge impact on their season. Defensively, they could get no pressure. They constantly had to play from behind, and that changes the way games are not only called, but certainly coached from the opposing side as well. They really kind of dictated terms to Tampa Bay from the first quarter on of every game. Jameis went through the hiccup that he went through and wasn't playing well, but he came out the other side, I think, a much better quarterback. We now have a better head coach. We now have a head coach who has a better handle on how to run an organization, bring players in, meld them to the concepts that he's positing. So I actually believe the Bucs, if they get a few pieces right, if we can cover better, certainly that is a big if we can. I think our offense is going to be more efficient. I think it's going to feature a running game, believe it or not, to some degree. They're going to stretch the field and let Jameis throw off a play action. They're going to get him out of the pocket. So I think the Bucs have a chance to go 8-8 this year. And I know nobody in Tampa thinks that right now, but I'm a little bit more bullish on Tampa Bay's chances this season than a lot of people.
But is that where bullish is? At, a 500 record? This is considered.
How many games did they win the last year?
I get it, and Vegas has them at 6 for this year.
I'm going a full 2 games above the over-under of the total.
Is that enough, though, to change perceptions about what the franchise, Jameis, and what Bruce is doing with the quarterback, all that stuff? Because that's what this year is about. He's got to be the whisperer, so they extend Jameis. Is 8-8 enough for Jameis to get an extension?
I think so. If in year 1 your new head coach gets you into a non-losing situation and your quarterback, first of all, Jameis is going to have to play well to go 8-8. So he will have had a good season. If he continues on the path that he did over the last 3 games of the season last year, where he was every bit the quarterback we'd been dreaming of, right? Knowing when to run, when to throw it away, when to get down, playing well within the pocket. Obviously, he's always played well outside the pocket, but not holding on to the ball too long, fumbling, those kinds of things. He got to be a very different quarterback. Didn't take nearly as many chances with the football into tight coverage windows. If he just continues the growth from where he left off with a quarterback coach and head coach like the one you bring in with Bruce Arians, I think you got a legitimate chance to change the perception of what the Bucs are, what he is, and where they're headed. But you got to go 8-8. I think it's probably a bit much to say, a bit steep to say that they could go from a team that double-digit losses to winning 10 games or something like that. So I say 8-8. I think 8-8 is reasonable.
I feel like this has boom or bust written all over it. I think this is you got a chance to go. If you did like percentages assigned to win totals, right? 6-5. I do something like 6, 5, 4, 10, 8. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Because if Jameis is that quarterback and Todd Bowles is truly, not Mike Smith. Whatever the hell Mike Smith was this last year.
Broken.
I mean, and you hear all those stories now, and that's how it happens. Once the era is over, the stories leak out. Same thing with Jimbo, same thing with Bobby, same thing with any coach that leaves and is really
He's in a bad situation.
awful or is awful at what they do or doesn't have the locker room, doesn't have a good handle on it, doesn't understand the pulse of it, and allows people to run roughshod over him.
Right.
If you have that competence and just a couple of more pieces, the pass rush, unfortunately, is the big one.
I don't know what they're going to do about that.
If schematically they can come up with a solution to that, then I think if Jameis is the quarterback that he was down the stretch, then you could flirt with 9 or 10. But I just wonder if they suffer a couple of hits on the chin early on, if Bruce starts to feel his age again, he's like, oh, man, I really want to come back for this. And that seeps into his work ethic, and then you've got dysfunction with a bunch of guys that only know how to lose, and so they creep back into old habits.
It's a lot to overcome.
And you could be at 5-11.
No doubt you could be. There's no sure thing here, and I'm not. When I say I'm bullish, I'm still only bullish on a 500 season. So I don't think they're going to turn it around to the point where we're watching a potential playoff team. But I do think they're a team that could get in that 8-win area, and I think, again, if you take that that's a giant leap forward, by the way. If you take that step, all of a sudden, again, going into the offseason, you have an opportunity to bring in a free agent or two. All of a sudden, you're a little bit more desirable. Jameis is viewed in a positive light as far as where his career is headed. Maybe there's a player or two that looks at that and says they have stability in that situation. So, but that's what this season's about, is the Bucs trying to get back and change the image of what they are and what they could potentially be for a free agent. And if that happens, I'll take it, man. That's baby steps. We're always talking about baby steps with our teams these days. Sweet Jesus. It's either that or a total collapse with the Lightning. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Autos are up to $8,000 off, and Titans, with America's best truck warranty, 5 years or 100,000 miles bumper to bumper, are up to $12,000 off. Seriously, at Kraft Nissan, Memorial Day savings are today and every day this month, with huge savings all month long. Plus, Nissan is blowing away the competition with special low interest rates and rebates. You get both. No wonder Tallahassee is a Nissan town, a Kraft Nissan town. And Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Interest rates with approved credit through NMAC.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
There ain't no heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Now you can quickly and easily schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. This spring, turn to the experts at Carrier. Learn more about great rebates and 0% financing for up to 60 months. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652. There ain't no heating and air conditioning.
Just like football, when it comes to the court of law, you're going to need a solid defense. I'm Michael D. Blank, attorney with the Law Office of Jose Fernandez in Tallahassee. At the Law Office of Jose Fernandez, there is never an upfront fee, and if we don't recover, then you don't pay anything. Our team is dedicated to handling all types of accident, injury, negligence, malpractice, and wrongful death cases. If you're unable to come to us, we can come to you day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, for your free consultation today. The Law Office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid until you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. JRFinjury.com. Go Knowles.
Hendrick.
New way to buy, new roads to drive. The all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet has reinvented the car buying experience. So find new roads and your new Chevrolet today, or shop DaleJuniorChevy.com.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Game 4 should be fun tonight, and you can hear it right here on these airwaves beginning at 7:30. Milwaukee and Toronto, Game 4. With hope that series goes 7 because it will be the last of the dramatic elements of postseason basketball. Golden State dispatching of Portland last night, once again trailing by 17 points, once again ripping the heart from the chest of the Portland Trailblazers. And, oh, by the way, Not only was Draymond great, and he hit a huge three, obviously, fun game, overtime game, but Steph Curry, folks, my God. Who does that at that size? There's no reason. It's one thing to drop 37, but when I'm looking up at 14 boards or 13 boards, whatever he finished with, I'm going, well, now, damn it, this is unfair.
I stayed true to my word, just watched the highlights. I knew, Portland has to win 2 in a row for that series to become interesting again, but they really found a way to get their fans' hopes up several times in this series. Several times. There was only 4 games, and in 3 of them, they had hope, a lot of it.
There was one highlight for Portland fans at the end of the day, which was Damian Lillard crossing over. I think it was Iguodala who about literally broke his ankles. It was embarrassing. I thought when you watch the slow motion replay of that, my man steps on his own feet and falls straight over after getting crossed. And Damian's done that to people, but that's about all you got. That move was awesome. It was. In defeat, it was an awesome move. But yeah, they just hit from all over the lot and really did things that Golden State used to do. Used to be fun to watch them play. It is again. Admittedly, I enjoy watching them more when KD's not out there. They sweep this series. He'll be back. They're going to win the next round too. They'll be your world champions.
You think it's not going to be interesting, the finals?
No, I don't see how it could be. Neither one of those teams could beat Golden State. I don't really. We're playing out the string now. You just got to hope that tonight is a great game. That has been a fun series. You had a thrilling game 1, a blowout in game 2, an incredible double overtime in game 3. You've had good games, so let's just hope we get another great one tonight and it gets tied at 2-2 because I like good basketball and I like compelling basketball. For both these franchises, it's a big damn deal. Just making the finals would be a big deal. They're not going to view it that way. They're going to view it as we have a chance. But those of us sitting from afar are going to say, no, you don't.
You've seen that Charles Barkley has been playing to the crowds in Toronto quite well, with the Inside the NBA show being on location for the conference finals,
sure.
as they do, as they alternate with ESPN for Western and Eastern Conference every other year. Chuck said essentially, I like this town. It reminds me of New York, but it's cleaner, the people are nicer, and they've got a good basketball team.
Well played.
Among 5 or 6 other things he said, saying it's his favorite city in the world, all that stuff. He's got that crowd at Maple Leaf Square,
Believing.
Which they call Jurassic Park, I think, for basketball season.
Sure.
He's got them on his side.
Well, remember how mad he made Phoenix? He made Houston incensed. He's done a lot.
San Antonio
forever.
The women in San Antonio. That's his number one point.
Yeah, it always makes me laugh. He knows what he's doing, obviously, but Toronto is a fun city. I've been to Toronto. It's a great city. If it wasn't so damn cold all the time, I like Toronto. it's just, and they keep waiting for that football team. The Bills will get there sooner or later, guys. Hang in there. That or Jacksonville.
At least once a year, right?
Let's do our problems. Great baseball last night, by the way.
It's time for how you say with the pitching probables.
A's, Indians, Chris Bassett goes against Trevor Bauer. We got the Phillies and the Cubs who played a great game last night. Phillies tie it in the 9th, win it in extra innings. It was a lot of fun. Zach Eflin going for the Phils. Cubs will throw Jose Quintana. Freaking Quintana, man. Yankees, Orioles, Domingo Germán, and David Hess. We got the Rockies and the Pirates. Let's go Buccos! Pirates 24-20 on the season. Hanging tough. Ramar Marquez, did I say that? Yes. Chris Archer back from the injured list. Hold my breath. We'll see.
You are or aren't?
I am. I don't know.
Okay. Got some hope?
A little bit, if he's healthy. His stuff right before he got injured was good.
He'll be one hell of a broadcaster when it's all said and done.
That he will be, but I need him to be a 500 pitcher this year because the rest of our staff is really good. Just be a 500. I just need you to be a number 3. Be a number 3. We got guys. Red Sox, Jays, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Marcus Stroman. Dodgers, Rays. Hell of a game. Oh. That game is in St. Petersburg tonight at the Trop. Clayton Kershaw going for the Dodgers. For the Rays, to be determined. Could be anybody.
Should be a good crowd for the Dodgers.
Should be. It's a shame it's not a great crowd for the Rays, who are 27-17. Good team. Great manager. Doing good things down there, man.
It's a good organization.
Yeah. Marlins, Tigers, Caleb Smith, Spencer Turnbull. On that Rays note, people will say, well, that's just a terrible location for the stadium. Man, it's not the location of the stadium. It's the stadium itself sucks. The stadium is garbage. It's sterile.
I think it's probably 70% the stadium is sterile and 30%. Because, St. Pete's been revitalized since
completely.
Yeah. It's much better than it was, say, when the Rays began playing baseball.
It was an obsolete city, virtually obsolete unless you were on the beach. Its downtown didn't exist when the Rays started playing. I know because I lived there, and it always was a source of frustration. You had to go to the beaches to enjoy St. Pete, and that was the only place you could enjoy St. Pete. Now, it's the envy of Tampa. And so you've got that for whatever reason. I mean, listen, that whole area is just Tampa Bay. It just is. They ought to come together and figure out something here, but they're always at odds with one another. And so the folks in Tampa are like, oh, the location of the stadium's terrible. People in St. Pete are like, well, our downtown's a hell of a lot better than yours. And so then they just sit back and forth and yell at each other.
Which is true.
Yes.
It is true.
Marlins, Tigers, Caleb Smith for Spencer Turnbull. Nationals and Mets. Is your manager going to survive another week or so?
Well, they had a press conference yesterday saying he's okay, which means
he's in trouble.
No.
Eric Fed goes for the Nats.
Ooh.
Zach Wheeler goes for the Mets.
Oh, great.
Reds, Brewers, Sonny Gray and Gio Gonzalez. We got the Mariners and the Rangers, Tommy Maloney and Lance Lynn. White Sox, Astros, Dylan Covey and Justin Verlander. Did you know? Because whatever the Astros do, it always works. Justin Verlander is 7-1 with a 2.38, 8 quality starts and 10 outings. Has been one of the most dominant pitchers in the game this year, quietly.
Has he been on the Jake Arrieta plan these last 2 or 3 seasons?
He doesn't look any bigger. I don't know. I think he's on the I'm happy to go home and see my wife plan.
Well, he's got allergy issues. He wants you to know his life, it's not perfect. Need a nasal spray.
Royals, Cardinals, Homer Bailey and Michael Wacha. Braves, Giants. Cunha hit a ball a long, long way on the first pitch of the game last night, and I started laughing. It always makes me laugh when somebody goes yard on the very first pitch of the game. I like that they always ambush. It's like, oh, you're going to try to get ahead on first pitch strike?
That's kind of where everybody's at the top of the dugout going, I don't care what happens tonight, boys. I'm swinging.
That's good stuff.
I'm swinging.
Julio Teheran goes for the Braves. Sean Anderson goes for the Giants. We got the Twins and the Angels. Michael Pineda. Trevor Cahill, full slate tonight. D-backs, Padres, Zach Greinke. 6-1 with a 2.78, Zach Greinke.
And a ridiculous hairstyle.
Agreed. Matt Strom goes for the Padres, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. So there's that. And oh, by the way, that's perfect to end on that note. A reminder, NBA Game 4, Milwaukee-Toronto tonight, right here on these airwaves, beginning at 7:30.
Yeah, that's the coverage, pregame, all that stuff, yes.
You got it all. Well, it makes sense because the Braves are playing at 9:45 tonight out in San Francisco. A little late.
I think our Braves sponsors will be okay, given that all of their...
people would be asleep.
Yes.
They wouldn't get to hear their ads at all.
Yeah, their ads will be on during the last, as you say, the last compelling series of the NBA playoffs.
That's correct. I think it is. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night. We shall talk to you not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I'm not on the air tomorrow. I'm going to my niece's graduation in Atlanta. Congratulations to her. I'm proud of her because it's a great school, but I'm not pleased that she's going to Georgia Tech. There was a chance.
We're switching the music? Is that what we're doing here?
You can. There was a chance she was going to go to Cal Berkeley because she got in there, and I was so excited because what an excuse. I'm off to Berkeley. Let's go. Atlanta.
Ray Kinsella went there.
I'm like, you're never going to see me. You're never going to see me because I'm not going to hang out at Georgia Tech. She'll have plenty of dudes to choose from eventually.
Oh. My God. It's like, they set it up in reality TV, The Bachelor and The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
If you go to Georgia Tech as a female, that's not reality TV, it's reality.
Yeah. You got it made. It's a little bit like coming to Florida State as a man.
I have a platinum graphing calculator.
Who has the bona fides and the prospects? Well, I've got my choice of 100 men tonight. There's only 6 girls in here. There it is. That's your night at the club. Be well. Have a good night. Talk to you Thursday.